I think I did. I think I did. Burp. Oh, did that too. Mm-hmm. Oh, broken. I'll break it. There you go. I fixed it. I fixed it. All right, there we go. Okay, let's see what's on the internet. Let's see what's on the internet. Okay. Meteorologist. Oh no, good catch. I got love in the air. I got love in everywhere. Umbrella. What up, Spruzzleberries? Sounds good, brother. Hit the like button for being a deist. All right. All right. Everybody gets there eventually. The more you learn, the more you learn, the more you learn. You're gonna get to a point that after you get through all the sciences, all the chemistry, all the biology, all of the physics, you end up there. That's where you end up, and then you have to start studying theology. I thought you'd start singing it. Amadeus, 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 Amadeus. Oh, rock me, Amadeus. Okay, let's see. Uh, okay. Damn. Amadeus, Amadeus. What's your thoughts on magical mushrooms and their therapeutic values? I mean, I've seen them used. The problem is dose with everything. So usually the therapeutic, and for what? So the therapeutic value I've seen for lots of people, like in very very small doses, like to not interrupt your day type doses for as like people use for antidepressants and anti-anxiety and stuff like that. I see a lot, and then on higher dosing stuff like that, like one-off use type stuff for PTSD and stuff like that. With a therapist or with a guide, I've seen that. So I mean, nothing should be dismissed without a positive. If it has ability to help people, there should be a path to find and to legalize and to medicalize, or not, maybe not medicalize. Maybe we don't give it to the medical establishment, but to create another form. Like I think we need another. I don't think we just need the medical establishment. I think we need something alongside of that too, for things, because if you look at the medical establishment, what it ultimately comes down to is either you sell their petrochemicals. 99.9% of all of the pharmaceuticals are made from petrochemicals. It means they ultimately come from oil, and that's part of the licensing. So that's why they won't prescribe. They won't say you need freaking a vitamin. Sup, Jizzle? Maybe ignorance is bliss. Since I stopped following politics a few weeks ago, I feel much calmer. Downside is ignorance. I just want to say that's how you got here, Dexy. Yeah, I tell you what. Think about the people that are in like not Australia, anywhere, like not out in the sticks, like no cell phone, no internet. They got no idea all this crazy stuff's going on. If they're not watching TV, if they're waking up, getting their food off the land, laying next to their wife, raising their kids, and they're not listening, they have no idea anything is going on. This president's gonna come, this president's gonna go. Another president's gonna come, another president's gonna go, and their life ain't gonna change. What up, y'all? Libertarians are trying to legalize microdosing. We're getting close. Yeah, I'm all about it. I'm all about it. B2B. Shice to new album. That's how about it. Yep. Facilitated. Yep. I look like. Thank you. Unless it's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday. That is 4 days. I have to successfully legalize marijuana through most of the country. We'll work on microdose for PTSD. The thing is to not give it to the dispensary crowd. You don't want kids thinking that it's a great idea. And then gummies that are 500 times too strong because it's supposed to be broken into 8 separate little pieces, so you only take one. Like, we really have to, it's dose dependent, and there should be something more professional, not necessarily part of the medical system, but more professional. Say like a I want to say rehab, kind of like a rehab or an old folks home, but not old, like something that you go into for a short period of time. You go into with people that understand the medicinal effects from that angle, not people just trying to sell you other pharmaceuticals. And well, if this doesn't work, we'll get you one at SSRI. And then so they purposely give you too few or too small of a dose or rush you through it. Because that kind of stuff happens, you know. Libertarians work on the state level, state by state. Get it done, brother. I understand that. It needs to stay in the medical field, not in the dispensary. But yeah, but some right off to the medical field. Thank you, Rare Days. Where does the Fortnite stream start? I don't even have Fortnite. I posted a Discord politics video, came out today. It's a huge art. Check it out. And strikes the tap water. Now I'm gay. For all, yeah, that's right. You're gonna be gay now, Trey. That's why your parents named you Trey, because they knew you were gonna drink water and it would rhyme with gay. Gay Trey. I mean, it's in the rules. All right, let's see. In the Discord. All right. That's gone. Yeah. Thoughts the frogs turned gay. Yeah, they turned gay. If you're not one of my tribe, I will be surprised. Me? I mean, if your tribe is for trusting the science before the science is settled, I'm not your tribe. Oh no. I'm not that tribe either. No. I skateboarded ramp as a kid, broke my nose a lot. I'm a Christian. This isn't teaching a relationship. It's a mutual agreement. This isn't a teaching relationship. It's a mutual agreement. What's up, Gary? Okay, Fox News. What do we got here?
Through this further, let's bring in Senator Ron Johnson, chairman of the...
All right, hold on. I broke it. Boom. Fauci's text. I meant DNA. No, not that either. No, I'm like, I got like Polish, and where the hell? My grandfather, my mom's dad is from Barbados. My dad's dad is from Poland. My dad's mom is also northern, like the Northern European, more like Austria, Germany type area. Or at least that's the DNA, you know, or actually I never had a DNA test, but that's what we had a lot of our lineage documented. We had people, you know, in the family that went yeah.
The Permanent
I'm all over
Subcommittee
the
on
place. I'm a mutt.
Investigations. He joins us by phone now. Senator Johnson, welcome to you. First, do add to what we are hearing here, Dr. Fauci, Anthony Fauci, in these new texts, specifically on him saying that the second COVID dose could theoretically be associated with
This has got to be bullshit Fox News stuff. Let's see.
miscarriage and the first trimester. What do you make of what we're learning here?
Well, first of all, thanks for having me on and thanks for covering this.
My name's Andy.
So we obviously have his phone. We've downloaded it, and we're going to carefully go through this to protect people's personal information. But I thought we had to release this right away because this is, I think, major news. Anthony Fauci, in a text exchange with Vivek Murthy.
No, that guy next to him was the senator that got the texts or whatever.
And Rochelle Walensky, the CDC director. They're talking about the COVID injection and having pregnant women take it. And in the middle of that text exchange, I think the key text is where Anthony Fauci is talking about the fact that the second dose creates a greater cytokine storm, additional information that could have an impact on increased miscarriages in the first trimester. Now, to add
histamine
to that,
releases
in June of 2021,
cytokines released from the cells.
A bunch of other people published a grossly misleading study in the New England Journal of Medicine where they were looking at 827 confirmed pregnancies. There were 104 miscarriages.
Jesus
they call them spontaneous abortions, but we refer to those as miscarriages. 104 divided by 827 would imply about a 12.6% miscarriage rate, which is quite high for confirmed pregnancies. I talked to Dr. James Thorpe.
I don't know, Jimmy. I can't tell where Trey's going with that either.
Within the realm of confirmed and unconfirmed pregnancies, okay? So they put this study out there, but what they don't reveal, they do, but they don't account for it, is that 700 of those 827 women took the injection in their third trimester.
So more than 10% of the women that were pregnant lost their babies after getting the second injection?
Spontaneous abortions occur before 20 weeks.
Spontaneous abortion. All right, I got to look at the text.
Starts after 28. So the relevant denominator would have been 127. So you would have had 124 miscarriages out of 127 of the women who got the injection in the first or second trimesters.
Yeah, I think he might be drunk, Jimmy.
82% miscarriage rate. That is shocking news. Okay, and that's been known for quite some time, but again, the Federal Health Agency
starts at a super chat saying gas prices, no new wars, grocery prices, Epstein files, tax cuts for the rich. Da 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 da.
That a gross misrepresentation by Tom Chimbakura, who is, by the way, he's the guy in the head of safety surveillance for the CDC who deleted his emails, and we've also found out that not only did he delete them on his devices, but somebody deleted them on HHS servers as well.
Again, great,
that needs to be investigated in terms of violations of the Federal Records Act.
Hey, Senator, it's John Roberts here, along with Sandra. So what Fauci said in that text message that you divined from his phone seems to be quite at odds with the public messaging that occurred following him sending that text message. That text message was sent on the 25th of January, 2021. Fauci said on February 3rd, and you included this in your press release regarding this, Fauci's message was FDA have found thus far, and we have to be careful, but thus far no red flags about that, about pregnant women. August 11th, 6 months later, CDC Sasha Ellington, we are not seeing a signal of safety concerns of the vaccine in pregnancy.
All right, great. So they're a bunch of liars. The government's never been like what? Yeah. I'm not a big fan. I'm not a big fan. That's freaking pisses me off. What about a server messages? What about server messages? This sounds like Ron Johnson from Wisconsin. Yeah, Ron Johnson. Yep. Our Republican Wisconsin addresses new text messages. Well, I guess time to buy stock in N-acetylcysteine. Jeez. Yeah. No, yeah. Understood, Jimmy. Understood. Yeah, he's a physician. Yeah, well, it's good. It's good. At least good people know. If you're pregnant, don't get the freaking wackadoo. There's gonna be a lot. I tell you what, there's going to be a lot of high anxiety. There's gonna be a lot of anxiety prescriptions given out. So maybe we need to look into getting the. Didn't the Trump administration just sign a freaking thing to allow to don't say no to yes to hope or no to something like that allows pharmaceutical or that allows hallucinogenics like ibogaine and whatnot to be used for PTSD, and then like so just because it's got a stigma tied to it, don't use it, like type thing. Like we have things now, like obviously the pharmaceutical industry currently doesn't does that, so hopefully that will lead to some good. 12% rate is bad, but when you look at the math, they didn't say it correctly. The misrepresented 38% of people said 80%. Very well, yeah. I heard him say that it should have been like 98% because it was 183 people and 179 or what. I can't remember the number. It was right around there. That actually, Johnson's a businessman, not a doctor. I'm a libertarian. I try to keep it understood, brother. I'm right there with you. Yeah, ketamine, that's another thing. So if physics is real, why am I poor? Why? Well, so physics is definitely real, and I don't know why you're poor. I know why I'm poor. Because I spend the money I get. But I'm actually in a sustainable poor, which is I worked a lot. When I was working in the movie industry, I worked a lot. I didn't spend a lot of money because I used to like party, especially when I was younger. But so the later years, I couldn't go out and drink at night because I had to be up at 4:30 in the morning to be on the stage or on set by 6 o'clock. So I know what you're saying. If some told us 12% of people might have still taken the vaccine, they told us 80%. Hardly anyone would have taken it. Right. Oh, right. Of course. Right. All right. Just ethnicity. Understood. What up, William? Ketamine. So, I mean, it's the same. It's the same type of thing. It's the same type of thing. There's these compounds out there that have been helpful to people, and absolutely, and like ketamine was basically used as a horse tranquilizer, a bit large animal tranquilizer, and people started fiddling with it in the back rooms, and they found either pleasure or pain from not with whatever compounds that they were fiddling with, and on the ones that they found benefit from, they're instantly squashed, especially when they're veterinary drugs primarily. They're given a taboo, but then people use them. People absolutely use them. And if people find benefit, the downsides to SSRIs, long-term SSRI use, like no SSRIs are supposed to be used over 3 months. Like there's no studies at all, no long-term studies to show what dosing SSRIs over 3 months can do. Like haven't been done. So they're not supposed to be used that long. It's supposed to get you through like a set of depression, and if you've got to change or move on. But it wreaks havoc on the body because serotonin isn't only used in your brain; it's also used in muscle contraction in your guts, your stomach, your digestive tract. It's all muscular. It's like dopamine and serotonin aren't just feel good drugs and mood based drugs or chemicals. I'm at eating. I'm at a eating. I'm eating and what kind of sleeping on the rock of poor. Oh, you're that kind of poor. Gotcha. Eating what I find. I'm at eating what I find and sleeping on the rock. Gotcha. I've seen antisocial traits in the U.S. more places than any other place I've been to. Why do you think that is? Drugs? Yeah, yeah. So two main reasons. A lot of the other, and I mean, a lot of the other world's hardcore antisocials are pushed out of their society. And a lot of that antisocial behavior came to America because we have the largest safety net, and other countries know this. Other countries know this particularly well. So they used to have insane asylums. I know Trump said this, and people were like, it ain't true because Trump said it, but it's actually true that people from insane asylums were released because other countries, smaller countries, knew how expensive it is to keep people. And when they found out you could get into America and you could say, I was being persecuted in my country by being put in jail or by being called crazy, they could get access to possible relief in America. So you have a lot of that. And then SSRIs absolutely cause antisocial disorder behaviors in a subset, a certain cohort of the cohort. So a certain set of the people that take them. So like so does like violent behavior. It's not. Yeah. Okay. If you have, it always comes down to chemistry. If it's a vitamin deficiency or a mineral deficiency you have, and your body can't make the neurotransmitters that your brain needs, and that causes that, or you're on drugs that destabilizes that system. But yeah, it always comes down to the chemistry of the body. I'm a sustainable porn. Yeah, that's where you want to be. That's where you want to be. Battle tech is helpful. It's to keep you safe. Some states already started allowed ketamine therapy, grooming therapy as well. Yeah, you gotta watch out for that stuff. Isn't what they used to Andre the Giant when he went to surgery? They had measurements from a horse. Dude, Andre the Giant was freaking amazing. Psilocybin, yeah. So that's another thing. So if there's benefit, a lot of people do not like to believe that what is already on this planet is everything we need for a lot of people don't even know that a lot of our antibiotics and stuff aren't created in a lab. They're not discovered in a lab, like so to speak. They're discovered. They're not created from scratch. So we found a lot of these antibiotics in the dirt around the world. People would be sent in like the 1920s and 30s all over the world to sample the soils and to find these antibiotic strains. And like, so it wasn't like somebody was just mixing chemicals together. It was like, so we in labs we multiply them and produce it to put it to get it to market and whatnot. But when it comes to other medicines, like there's also things that have already been found, but the profit is finding these. So you go out, you find that information. Okay, this thing stops bacteria. What is it in this seed that stops bacteria? Let's find that and then synthesize it. Then say that we created it, get a patent on the compound that we created in a lab and pushed out. But we're starting to, well, I think we've known this for century, but we're the regular population is starting to learn that there's other things in it. Like when you eat an apple and like, oh, it's got sugar in it. Yes, but it's also got fiber and phytonutrients and things that slow down how it's absorbed. So you don't get it's meant to work together. And I think that's ultimately where we're going to come back to. What up, Glenn Levy? Hello from British Columbia, Canada. What lies are you telling today? I don't know if I told any yet. How you doing, brother? I have a stockpile of cool pain pills. I was prescribed but never took. Not yet. I met a girl today. What up, Georgie? And the town is beautiful. We talked about our past, and she said her name is Abby. She has red hair. Well, if you think that now, you've already probably ruined yourself. If you don't give yourself at least a couple of weeks to try to get to know her, like, listen, how do you know that she's not a complete liar? She might have told you a complete scripted story. You have no idea. You got no idea. You better slow down, buddy. Especially because you fall in love too quick with freaking crazy people. The lie today, Canada is awesome. Have you seen that Jason Arday camera solution suit? Listen, I honestly start to think that these humiliation rituals things are a thing. Like I understand that they're a thing, but why take somebody and move them up to such prestige when they had the tools to filter out this kind of cheating and lying. Like he said, he ran 600 miles in 30 days or whatever it was. He said that he was in a show, in a movie or a documentary that came out 20 years before he was born. Like he cheated on his academic papers, obviously, and the tools that the school uses to catch cheaters, they didn't use against the guy that they were moving to the youngest professor in Cambridge history. They didn't check. It happened here in America in Harvard. The head of Harvard also she completely plagiarized her thesis, except she changed like a positive to a negative in like one of the words was like, that's crazy. The lie today is in Canada, and the weather in Canada is awesome. Super hot, 35 degrees. Man, yeah, it was really hot today. It's like 91 or 92 F. Canadian weather sucks when it comes to Boston. What up, OG Kicks, brother? You love white women? Abby is the one. Congratulations. Yeah, good luck. What up, YouTube glop gloop? Hanging guys. The professor said they ran 600 miles in 6 days. Yes, right. Fish Stick. Hey, long time no see. Fish Stick, how you doing? Check for an Adam's apple, Georgie. Right. Right. Yeah, and the problem is you never want to go. You never want to go to the store hungry, because then you'll buy stuff that's not good for you just because you want to satisfy an urge. So you never want to go finding a woman when you're in active heartbreak. Especially when the last woman that broke your heart was the type of woman that broke your heart, like, and you knew that she was a freaking stripper, that she was an addict. 102 years, 104. I think I saw a real feel of 108 current temperature. You checked out now LDN, low dose naltrexone, not just naltrexone. So if you read, I mean, you want to make sure you cut through the. Did you find what I was talking about? 3.5, 3.5 to 4.5 milligrams. So if you apparently what I was going through is if you take like 200 milligrams, it doesn't do anything. If you take 10 milligrams, it doesn't do anything. But if you take between 3.5 and 4.5 milligrams, it turns off a lot of these cancers' ability to reproduce. So if you got stage 3 cancer and you start it, allegedly, it just stops. You just stay at stage 3, and then you can start taking things that'll destroy it, but at least it won't progress to stage 4. If you're at stage 4, you take it and it stops at stage 4, and then you have to start working on getting, fasting and whatnot to get rid of it. But ketamine is also anesthetic for us humans. How do they find out? Cures depression, better surgery. Doctors, people know, so actually have it for a week out of surgery. Yeah. I mean, a lot of the like look at Viagra. That was a heart medication that ended up, it was like, hey, my ding-a-ling. And then so they're like, okay, never mind, screw it. It's a heart medication. Make more money on ding-a-ling stuff. Always for the food for a minute at a grocery store. That's right. Dr. Rashid Ritchie of the Young Turds has a more scientific PhD than the graduates at MIT combined. Yeah, liar too. Yeah, sounds good. I told you, yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. And the interesting thing is you had addicts. You had heroin addicts, opioid addicts that were being treated, and a lot of them were cancer patients because they started getting addicted to their pain meds. And then it just by happenstance, as they were they started them off on higher doses of naltrexone and started working their way down to get them off of their addictions. And then people would be like, "Hey, can I go back on the low dose? My MS it feels better." And people are like, what does that do? And then finally, over the years, as addiction specialists talk to addiction specialists and then cross over and talk to cancer specialists, they're like, well, hey, I have a cancer patient that also has MS, so let me try low dose naltrexone to see if at least I can give him some relief from his multiple sclerosis. And then the cancer stops growing, and they're like, whoa, that's kind of weird. So and then, but this stuff, we've known it for decades. We've known it since the 90s. So why hasn't it been pushed? Well, we know why it hasn't been pushed. Like it's super cheap, pennies. It's basically free. And this is what pisses me off about like talking about free medical care in America when it's talked about like you've got to start taxing people more money to do that. I say no. I say we don't. I say two things can be true. I say we're overpaying for a lot of stuff. Cancer is like one, and obesity are two of the most money takenest parts of the medical industry. So if we've got ways to severely destroy the amount of money that needs to be spent on cancer, then we could give free medical care to the people who actually need it. So two things can be true at once. We can make less people need medical care, and then the people that do need it can be much more affordable. So I just don't agree. I don't agree with raising taxes every time you find out something. Like, wait a second, why can't we find efficiencies? And I know it sounds dogy, but I think that's just the engineer in me. I want to find efficiencies. We understand how the body works. We understand how a lot of cancer. We understand how cancer reproduces. It just pisses me off. It pisses me off because it just comes like you freaking pisses me off. Yeah, absolutely could do it. First, we have the Fauci saying things over 1,000 died from COVID today. Glad he made a baseball card for me. Now I have a vaccine, 80% pregnant miscarriage rate. Yeah, that's crazy shit. Awesome parasite, I think, is vastly underreported. It's one of the huge things that I promote. One of the huge things I promote. If you go to my website, 110thgrade.com. Oops. You get yourself a wackadoo hat or a wackadoo shirt, or get yourself some freaking anti-parasitic or some methylfolate. Minoxidil brand, Rogaine, blood pressure medication that come up file turns really going to grow in air. Nothing is free, so my pays for it. Yeah, I agree. I'm a beast. Yeah, no, but absolutely. So I also think there's two. I brought this up before, and this is where my life is heading. I want to start something besides the medical system, alongside the medical system, a competition, let's say. If we can cancel out if we can check off that especially kids coming up, say 13-year-old kids, whatever, when they need to be checked out before they go into high school or whatever, for their physical, make sure they don't have any parasites. Just like there's lots of parasites. It ain't just butthole parasites. There's lots of them. There's ones that look like schizophrenia or cause things like schizophrenia. There's things that cause things like diabetes because they're inside you eating. So give a $5 course of antiparasitics, and then do a vitamin and mineral deficiency test to make sure that like, imagine how many of these psychiatric issues may be from vitamin deficiencies. And people do not realize like ADHD can be a methylfolate or a vitamin B12 deficiency. And that's what in my case, that's how I figured this out at 45 years old, 5 years ago. Right. So it's like if you have a vitamin or mineral deficiency, and then it's showing up like ADHD, you have ADHD like symptoms, and then you get on speed, you still have that vitamin deficiency. But the thing is, there's deficiency and insufficiency. So the amount that we typically take that says if you take 100% of your daily vitamin A, B's, C, D, E, and all, that's enough to keep you out of deficiency, to keep your bones from bending. But how much vitamin D are you actually, or could you take to thrive, to make sure your body's working the most efficiently? But when the government looks at it, they need to say, okay, most people, to keep them from having sores on their body, needs to take how much? And that's where these numbers come from, not what you need to thrive. So if we can do it on a personal level, rather than the government setting a number, people come in, you take some hair or some fingernails or blood, and you say, okay, this is where your body's at right now. It appears that you have a deficiency in these vitamins and these minerals. How have you been eating? But the doctor asks, how have you been eating? And you say, good. And you say, okay, good. Not is it just Dino Nuggies? Is it just chicken McNuggets? Like what are you actually eating? Things that contain vitamins and minerals, not just fats, cholesterols, and whatnot. And then once you realize like how much it could come from that, I think we could get to the point where medicine can be much less profitable. I think it would be possible to become competition to the medical industry. I honestly think, and imagine if we could keep a bunch of kids off of Ritalin and Adderall that end up going to be on meth later in life. Luckily, I did not take that path, but I know a lot of people. Just haven't been talking about this the past year and a half. I talked to a lot of people who are like, "Yeah, dude, I went from freaking Adderall to meth." And then I had a freaking 10 years of my life. So, okay, well, that sucks, dude. I mean, now maybe if the doctor's visit would have been, oh, you've got a vitamin deficiency because you're not eating freaking 6 ounces of red meat a day or whatever, I think I could fix it. The doctor told me I was a beast. He said, a beast. I was a beast. Cartman. Yeah, we're going to save the world. We're going to save the world. That's the plan. That's the plan. And while the Republicans and Democrats are arguing over stupid shit, rest assured, while people are arguing on freaking X, there's actually people doing work to help make difference, because it shouldn't be up to the government to help us. And imagine all of the other health issues, especially obesity and whatnot. Now that we have like GLP-1s and stuff, and we stopped in society making obesity cool. But you know why they do. They advertise it. Of course, if you're a food seller, if you're McDonald's, you want to pay an influencer to say obesity is kick ass. Because imagine selling 5 times the amount of food, 5 times the amount of food to each person. Like they make billions of dollars if you could just upgrade a fry from small to large. Imagine saying instead of one Big Mac, getting 3 and a large soda. So that spend, it's worth it to companies that will make you fat, to make you think being fat is fine. But it destroys the body, and the medical industry knows that, because the percentage of people that will get non-fat will have stretchy skin, and the organ issues will have to go through those protocols. So plastic surgeons will make a shitload of money. That industry will do good. So it's good for industry. What's bad for you is what's good for industry. Well, I think I can create an industry, an entire other sect of the economics that can be profitable and actually help people, and keep these people that are arguing over, let's go communist because everybody needs health care. I think we've got plenty of money. I think we've done plenty of scientific research and nutritional research to say, no, we've got plenty of money. Let's make it so you have to spend less, especially on medical care. And then get it to the point where it's, oh, people only need freaking end of life care and beginning of life care, so that then we can start making people have a brighter outlook on the future, and then start having babies again, because they're not like, oh, my baby's just gonna have cancer, or Trump's gonna get into office, or like that. No, okay. So I think all of this could start sorting itself out once, like, the free healthcare that needs to be offered in the world is birth and then end of life. And if we can keep, let's just say, even half of the people that that need healthcare in the middle of life, not talking about the people that get into car accidents and stuff like that. Yes, they should not go into life changing debt because of that. But we shouldn't have so many people coming in from like low zinc, like they get the flu or cold and whatnot. People using that we should have ways set up to make sure people's bodies are working the best they are. And I think setting up something that's very easily reproducible, like franchise, like a McDonald's or a Subway, but making it a place that hands out antiparasitics and checks for vitamin and mineral deficiencies, then it can make its money off of correcting those deficiencies. But I also understand that you can have people that will then lie, cheat, and steal to get what they want, to try to sell more vitamins and minerals to these people. So I want there to be like an oversight, not the government, because they'll do that. They work too closely with the medical industry that want people vitamin and mineral deficient, because then it leads to people having to go to the doctor and needing pharmaceuticals and whatnot. So I think we're gonna change the world, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. Steak tartar. What up, Flat World? Speaking of making kids healthier, Trump announced today. I posted on Discord. Let's do it. Let's do it. Listen, once I'm gonna move. It's gonna be after. It's gonna be next month, so September. I'm going into full gear. I'm working on moving to a new studio, and getting that set up, and that'll be somewhere around the 1st of September. Right? Everything should be swapped over and done, and then I'm going full steam ahead. And if I can start doing this to save the world, I'm running for president in 6 years. A bunch of Arkansas police chiefs just eliminated flop cameras. Buy them. Yes, you can. And good nutrition makes you less hungry, eat less fat. Right. That's one of the points I like to talk about is if a lot of people, because they tried to make being obese cute, people didn't need to look into it. There was no need to have any science spend any money looking into why people get obese. Because why? It's just cool. It's just I'm just a fat. It's just like I'm black or I'm white. I'm just fat. I'm a different type of person. And no, you can change body sizes. So I think you eat a bunch of crap. The body says, I didn't get the vitamins and minerals and proteins that I needed from that. So do that again. So then you eat again. And then the body says, I still didn't get enough vitamin A, enough vitamin B12, enough so you get hungry again because it's your body trying to fill up its stores of vitamins are chemicals the body needs but cannot make. Except for D3, the body can make it if sunlight hits the skin, it converts cholesterol into vitamin D3. So, but all the other ones the body requires but does not get. And nobody that I ever talked to ever says, like if I say, did you get 100% of your vitamin A yesterday? Nobody says yes. And when's the last time you ever made sure you got 100% of any of your vitamins? Open your mouth and say, oink. What's up, Brianna? Dude, right? Valued everybody. My grandmother was alive, but geez, they spent like $7,500,000 on her just last week of life. Yes, I think that's set up. They want people, they want to drain your bank account at the end of life. Why do they want you dying with money? They don't. You've got money to spend. Yeah, that's what they're thinking. I'd vote for. Thank you, Brianna. It's still crazy when people say they're just being boned. Yeah, it's crazy. Look at this. 500-pound man MRI. Oh, I should have said X-ray. Okay, here. Look at this. Look at this. Okay, hold on. All right, look, you're not big boned. Check this corner, I'll check out in a second, brother. Smart and humble. Thank you, Bernie, brother. Richard Snuffles, 2032. Am I your favorite viewer? Yes or no? No, not yet. You're on your way up the list. Find out less. There enough have it. You're looking like Rico Kasich. You're raging again. Me? What am I raging? I'm excited. I'm not raging. I'm excited. I don't think you've. Yeah, this ain't rage. This is enthusiasm. Augustus Gloop. What's up, Hard? Right? Yeah. Right. People have no idea. They have no idea because those things are to make you feel good about being fat. You're big boned. You're not skinny framed. You're big boned. You have to eat 8,000 calories a day to feed your bones. No, it's all a lie. It's all marketing to get the money out of your pockets, out of your bank accounts into theirs. That's what they want. What is Discord for exactly? It's a chat. It's a messaging platform and a bulletin board. So like it's for the channel, for the community of the channel. And then we have different topics in different channels on there. So we have like, I'll just go to it. Here, I'll show you. We'll do this real quick. All right. So you have like this here. So you have the channel. All right. So it's 110th grade. And then you've got like the lobby, live stream stuff, health talk, Minecraft, the fail around and find out, recipes, pets, games, movies, greenhouse talk, game development, donations and super chat, mechanics talk, the electronics chat, YouTube, Twitch, all kind of stuff. That's for Wally, isn't it? All right, let's see. Bam. Yeah, there's a lot of them. That's not the only one. There's a lot of them. Yeah, there's a lot of you can find X-rays. Obese person X-ray. I got banned from your Discord, but that's okay. I probably said something racist. Well, I probably said something racist. You got banned. Yeah. So here's some more. Like, look at this. Look at that. Dude, I saw this needle that was 2 feet long, and it was to do a spinal tap, but it had to get through like 1.5 feet of fat before getting to somebody's spine. Like, we can feel our spine on our backs. Can you imagine touching where your spine's supposed to be on your back and still having a foot of adipose tissue? Daryl Hall, Daytimer, Paul Young, come back and stay. Ah, man. Come back and stay. Classic. Emma Wing, what's your question, Emma? I've got my Zepbound B12 shot today. I'm gonna try out. I've been slipping into depression, no energy. Yeah, so that's what helped me. Right there, oh, somebody asked about coffee. I drink coffee. I mean, I won't drink more than 2 glasses a day. But in the morning, I use coffee to drink to like I don't use it for the caffeine so much to say I use it for I take raw cocoa, which is like 100% cocoa, and the easiest way to get that in me is to not eat chocolate. So you want to put it in something to dissolve, like like coffee. So I have creatine, collagen, cocoa, and coffee, and then I add sugar to make it less bitter because I'm adding a lot of supplements to it. The Michelin Man, yeah, right. Here's another one. All that stuff you named off is the bulletin topic, and you can click on it. Yeah. Then you click on it, and it's got a thread, and you can reply and react, smiley face, blah, 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 respond. Yeah, so you have an entire thread inside there. So it's basically just, it's sorted into topic. And there's also areas to do live streams there and phone calls and whatnot. I just did 10-minute mile, feeling great. Good, brother. I had a spinal tap before. That needle's ridiculously too long. Yeah. Look, let me see if I can find it. All right, what was I? Okay, then we'll get to the Discord. 1 second. All right, let me see if I can find it. Let me see if I can find it. Yeah, so I'm looking up. It's coming up. I type in 24-inch and it's showing 21 gauge, but if I'll have to go through the history. Obama, that's a great start. I got 10-minute miles, good. 10-minute miles, yeah. I mean, yeah. You should be able to run a 10-minute mile, especially if it's from the police. I got a severe thunderstorm warning pop up on my phone when I was at my grandpa's house. Yeah, I did too. Yeah, we had some thunder. Luckily, we didn't have any. Because I'm fat. I'm really, really fat. Kelvin, they're never doing that to me nor a colonoscopy. I'll just die. Well, this is another thing about things like that. I understand. But people don't do anything for their health. They consider getting a colonoscopy for their health, but you need to know, like we don't teach people in high school or younger how the body works. Well, they can learn that in medical school if that's something they're interested in. No, that's what they're in this body. They have to know. Like we talked about sex ed, stuff like that. They need to know that the body needs the vitamins and minerals and what they do and what happens if they don't have them. I think a quick couple, like an hour-long class to just get that and require it just to get it into the kids' heads that they understand. So then they go throughout life. They don't go freaking 40 years and find out they have a vitamin deficiency. They'll understand that at a very young age, like 10, 12, 13. Super Bob, that's awesome. My son is Special Forces. Sounds like their standards. Yeah, he's trying to join the Special Forces. Aunt Catherine be angry. Is there any darkies in chat causing nobody's causing any trouble. Okay, let's see. What was I looking for here? Even basic metabolism, fats, proteins, carbs, micronutrients, too much less stuff. Yes, for that, yeah, but I'm just talking about what you need, what the oil change is of the body. Like you need to make sure you've got gas, tires, and oil for a car to drive around this planet and to keep it running properly, right? So we should teach kids or an adult, whoever, what their body needs. Vitamins, we tell people that they need to eat their vegetables, blah, 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 but not why. Why? The sentence has to come out of a teacher's mouth. Vitamins and minerals, very important. Okay, that's one. We'll do another sentence. Vitamins are things the body requires for proper function. So if you're not feeling like your body's proper, if you feel depressed, if you feel anxious, and you haven't gotten what you needed from your diet, then that's something he's looked into. Need to learn. We do learn, but not really in school. Do like candy bad, soda bad, salad good, apples good, digestive. But still, that's not enough, because a lot of times kids don't even know that there is a vitamin K2, and that's one of the most important ones that you need. Like. They don't have any idea, and they have to be told things that that can be good for them. So when people start to feel bad, while they say, "Mom, I want to go see a doctor," but at least in the time when they set up the appointment, they could go think back what they've eaten over the last week, couple months, or whatever, and say, "Hey, let's look at the vitamin and mineral list and the foods that these have I. Oh, I haven't had any of this at all ever." So I might be deficient in this and that, and have the conversations. Because if you go get symptom control from a doctor, the deficiency is going to stay. That will also have my finger in my butt. Had a finger in my butt. Yeah, don't do it. They don't just stick a finger in it, move it around in a circle. Hashtag violation. It's leaking oil. And keep driving means it has oil. That's right. Fuck that, Kelvin. That is something. No, it's I see right here with deal with dark issues. Guinness is going for you. What's up, sir? Reginald Bumquist. What was I doing? Discord. Okay. Okay. I did not put I did not to spam with Discord politics. Yeah, no, I got it. I got it. Oops. 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 Okay. Off topic, but it's dumb to say some states allow first-time learners to take the permit test. I think it's dumb that some states allow first-time learners to take the permit test at home. Yes, it's very dumb. You know why they're doing that. You know why they're doing that. Because it's not for good, it's for evil. Let's just put it that way. They want people to be able to get a permit with their picture on it from home, and if they've got it, if they don't know the answers, they can look it up while they're doing it. It's not for good. It's not for good. They want to start getting more people IDs easier just off the internet. They're going to do the citizenship test that way too, I bet you. What do you think about iodine intake, general society? It seems like they're taking it out of everything. No, iodine's one of the most important things. I mean, it's one of those things. Absolutely, you need it. It's unbelievable what happens. People think, oh, I don't have low iodine. I don't have a goiter. No, that's severely low. That's like severe deficiency. But you need proper amounts of it for your body to function properly, and then you can have a benefit from a okay, let's see. All right, Brooke Rollins, Dr. Ben Carson, we are putting real food back in the school lunch trays. Okay. USDA's farm to school. Good. This is what should happen. This way we we actually have our farmers, American farmers, make grow more American food to get it to. This is what should happen. Okay, let's see. USDA Farm to School Grant Program awarded nearly 20 million to connect farmers and ranchers with school nutrition programs. Good, good, good. America's long been known as the land of opportunity, a place where every child, no matter what born their circumstances they face, have the chance to chase their God-given potential. Whether you grew up in a farm, rural Texas, or in the city of Detroit, America's a place that's always shown hard work, determination, freedom, and the dream a person can achieve. But along the way, there's certain habits that fuel our endurance and restraint. Yeah, agreed. I'm going to try to contact those people. I really, if they're going to make this change now, I want to get my vitamin and mineral thing part of it. Hopefully, maybe it already is. I was a school teacher. What's the topic? What up, Eddie? ND, I can teach you the way if you are willing to listen. NH has no driver's permit under 18. If you 40 hours practice with an adult, 25, 18, you can just take this. Yeah, I didn't take mine until I was 18. Yeah, keep the racist. Yeah, you got it. Yeah. Don't be racist. I joined the Discord. I can't wait to meet you fine folks. I'm Astro Viking. I will bore you with astrophotography. I love astrophotography. I used to have an 6-inch mirror, 8-inch telescope that me and my brother actually got it given to him by his boss, who got a 12-inch mirror. But yeah, so we had it was 6 feet long. Had all kinds of different diopters and whatnot. Yeah, I love that stuff. What about CoQ10? Do you require? No, I don't take any all-in-one supplements. Your body can't. So here's the problem. If you take one a days and things like that, the body, the way that the gut bacteria and mucosa works, it can only absorb so much of everything at one time, and it usually adapts to change, and that needs to happen over time. So if you take a one a day, most of it will just end up in your poop. So you'll trick yourself into thinking you've taken all of the vitamins and minerals your body needs, but you've actually just put it in the little turlet. I think it's dumb how some states don't let people drive till 18. It's literally the worst time to throw a teenager's set of keys to the penalty for the first time. Yeah, I was Maryland where I lived. I use AZ daily vitamin tablet. I mean, you're also not in America. I'm talking about like what's available in America. You might have something better over there in Wales. You're Wales, right? Ireland. BMW takes the oil leak in the heart. BMW says losing 3 to 4 quarts a month under full of 12 creators. Tax 7.5. Going, jeez. Sorry for all the questions. But what's your take on shark cartilage? That's what I'm here for. Ask questions away. Shark cartilage. That's. Listen, I don't want sharks hunted for their cartilage. So that's one big thing. I understand that the sharks that are already farmed, so you got to make sure if you're using it, you're getting it from a responsible source. That's very important. But there is a lot. I don't know a lot about shark cartilage besides the supposedly there's the sharks don't get cancer thing, and I don't think that's true. And I think that was just a marketing thing because people that were catching sharks to sell their meat wanted to sell their cartilage also, and I think they just put that because I believe sharks can get cancer. And if that's usually what people hear when they talk about shark cancer, sharks can't get cancer. Shark cartilage. Shark cancer. Also, not bark. Yeah. Sharks can and do get cancer. The idea that sharks are immune to cancer is false. By 1990, there you go. Myth 1992 book to sell powdered shark cartilage supplements. Yeah, so this is the thing. I say everything that if someone's trying to sell you an idea or sell you a product, which is pretty much the internet, everything is marketing. The way it's marketed to you, and the reason if they're paying to have something said to you, some scientific fact, it's because they're trying to market something to you, whether it's an idea or a product. Also, New Hampshire forgot to mention under 18 required driver's ed. Once driver's ed and not driver's ed is not required. Just take the written road test. So yeah. So that was the same thing in Maryland. Maryland, 18 years old. I had to take a 1.5 hour drug and alcohol course to say basically drinking and driving's bad, freaking cocaine and driving's bad, freaking heroin and driving's bad, weed, all that. And then after that, I could just go take the test. I got my license. Yeah, yeah. So no driver's ed, no nothing. But also, right before I was in high school, my ninth grade year was the first year that they no longer gave free driver's ed in school. High school, you used to be able to take driver's ed. They had a parking lot area that they would set a track up in, and you would learn how to drive, learn how to park for a semester, and then you would get your learner's permit in the school. So like they used to do more, but then they started flooding the schools with more and more and more and more and more and more people. So those kind of elective things got tossed to the side because they needed more English classes, more math classes. Yep. Do you have a list of what to take and when? I don't have a list. My website, 110thgrade.com, is what I take, but not when. Basically, there's only a few that I take at night. Like the magnesium glycinate has a calming effect. Definitely. It's in sleep supplements. So I take that at night. My B12, my methylfolate, my D3, I take during the day. K2, I take during the day. Okay, so, but that won't well, it's about 2 o'clock. That's when I eat. So I wake up 9 a.m. and I'll have my coffee. That has my cocoa creatine collagen. Okay, that's what I have. And then when I eat 1 or 2 o'clock, then I'll take the other supplements when I have some fat and food in my stomach. And then at night, not every night, but if I feel like I am wound up and I know I want to be in bed by 1 a.m., then at like 12:30, I'll take the magnesium glycinate and whatnot. I learned how to drive a standard transmission in the hills of Arkansas when I was 8. New Hampshire does not even do a drug test. I don't know if Maryland still does anywhere there, but I read that book. I read that book and it was recommended. Which book? Remember, just because you took Ed for a drive does not mean you took driver's ed, okay? Portishead Glory. Portishead. Yeah, definitely. Glory Box. Definitely. Portishead Glory. Great freaking band. Portishead. Great band. I mean, Kate Bush is kick ass too, but not. I would put Portishead all in all above Kate Bush. Yeah, Glory Box, great freaking album, great song. What was that? Oh, Portishead album? Portishead. I thought I said what is head? Portis. All right, let's see. Wow. Let's see. Sour Times. What a great freaking, oh man, are you drinking good? No, I don't drink bottled water. No. So listen, and here's a big thing about water. Minerals. Okay, minerals. We talk about vitamins, minerals. Humans used to get most of our minerals from water. So water is in a lake dissolving the minerals. The water is dissolving the minerals in the lake. You pick out some water, you drink the water. You have a well. The well is under the ground in the earth, dissolving minerals from the earth. You pump it up and you drink the water. So you're getting minerals from there. Now our water is so filtered that and purified. Now I understand it's because bacteria can kill us if you have bad bacteria and whatnot, but it also doesn't have the minerals in it. So if you're not getting your minerals that way, you have to supplement. So not all supplements are good, but supplements that the body actually absolutely needs. You need like vitamins. You need vitamins. Vitamins are required. I would say, I won't say, but yes, you need vitamins absolutely, and most people don't make sure they get 100% of whatnot. So yes, I don't drink bottled water. I take water. I have city water that I filter. I have a gravity filter and I have a row pot, a reverse osmosis robot pot. So it looks like a big coffee maker and it's got 4 filters in the side and it pumps the water through the filters and it lets you know what the dissolved solids going in and the dissolved solids coming out are. And I also have a gravity filter, which is called a Berkey. But yeah, water, you got to make sure, because listen, chlorine will mess your body up. It can destroy the good bacteria in your body, and just drinking water and having it, it's not good for your digestive tract. Wait, what? Some states can get licensed till you're 18 as well, where everyone else takes 16, but drivers ed. Right. Some states you can get your license at 18. Right. Nope. Right. But if you're 16, right, you have to have driver's ed. Yeah, it's just wait 2 years so you don't have to worry about it. Just go take your test. That's right. Sharks don't get cancer. Do get cancer. Yes. Oh well. Yeah, right. So this is the thing. We have to understand, like, and if you ask most people, does science know if sharks get cancer? Yeah, sharks don't get cancer. It's scientific. It's established science. It's not. Sharks get cancer. Right? It's just you've been marketed to, and you can, because you've been told it when you were young, or you overheard it, you just consider, but no, sharks get cancer. Sharks get cancer. Wisconsin might have a drunk driving problem. People get like 5 or 6 DUIs. Jeez, Humming is also a great song from Portishead. Portishead's freaking great. 1991, Bristol. Beth Gibbons, man. Beth Gibbons. Trip hop. I took driver's ed when I was 15 and passed. Got my permit on my 16th birthday. My license was in the mailbox. The Newton first truck sitting in the driveway. Damn. Dad bought for me for your birthday. Earthman 1. Are you trying to tell me that this man is real? Clearly an AI. I'm not AI. What's up, Winston Churchill? Have you read studies about sunlight leaching out folic acid in the arid regions like that, like birth defects, right? So, and here's a huge problem. So you've heard that, you understand that. So, okay, so I don't have a box. So I have, B9, B7 or B9, B9. I can't remember which one's folic acid. Okay, not folic acid, folate. And so the a lot of times because folic acid's very easy to make in the lab, they use folic acid, but it doesn't do the same thing as folate and methylfolate. They're hoping the liver will convert that folic acid into these things. So like the body uses the cellular on a cellular level, it uses methylfolate. So I take of my B12, I take methylcobalamin, and my folate, I take methylfolate. But yeah, yes, right. So that could be a big problem, and people do not understand it at all, right? The birth defects could be a hell of a lot higher. If you see the birth, let's not get into that. But yes. Man wants to go to a Dana Carey concert. Goes to Ticketmaster. 146 adult tickets. Says Ticketmaster says, "Oh, I want 2 child tickets." And wait, me listen. If you would this straight, you want 46 and 2. Flock cameras being the mom and literally reading. Flock cameras being the norms, literally leading us towards 1984. That ain't the only thing. That's Gary's era. The sky is falling. What up, Space Cow? Yeah, it fell. Yes, methylfolate. Yes, yeah. Yeah, I don't know if I have it on my website or not. Yeah, I do right there. Bam, methylfolate. Yeah, it just takes you to Amazon. If you click on it, and it gives me like 25 cents. So this is a sublingual. So if you're not sure whether your guts are in the best shape, and you feel like you might have, like if you look up like vitamin deficiencies and the symptom that you have in vitamin deficiency, or the vitamin and vitamin deficiency symptoms, and you say, I feel like I have that problem, and you want to try a supplement or whatever. The reason you might be deficient is because your guts have been damaged from drinking water, from taking antibiotics, drinking water that's got chlorine and whatnot in it that can chlorine just kills every good and bad bacteria, right? Eating emulsifiers, all that stuff. So these dissolve under the tongue, absorb right directly into the tissues, rather than trying to go through your intestinal tract, go through the gut wall, the gut bacteria, gut wall, the gut lining, blah, blah, blah. This bypasses that, especially if you're a drinker. If you drink a lot of alcohol, your body cycles through things very quickly, and you pee a lot, you poop a lot, or more often. And so your digestive tract and your waste tract works faster, so you might not have the time to absorb the vitamins and minerals you should from what you eat. I just take the meth in the morning for the energy with coffee and a cigarette. Meth in the morning. Howard Jones. I'd like to get to know you. Steve Winwood. Back in the high life again. Steve frickin' Winwood, dude. Back in the high life again. It's methylfolate. What the fuck is methylfolate? Methylfolate's B9, B7, B9, B7 or B9. Let me see. It's either B7 or B9. Folate. Supposedly Fox is law enforcement's access to the cameras, their camera services. Yeah, that's bullshit. That's marketing. That's the marketing. That's their press releases. B9, vitamin B9. Folate or B9 is essential water soluble nutrient vital for making red blood cells, producing and repairing DNA. So then you start thinking about cancers. When the DNA ain't properly, it starts to go wackadoodle. So you can get cancer from a lot of shit, but you don't want to get cancer from not taking your vitamins, right? Like if you can stop yourself from having DNA damage because you didn't take what the body requires and body needs to repair DNA. It pisses me off. I take methylphenidate, so I'm good on the B vitamins. Little bit different, brother. Robert, it's a joint, coffee, cigarette. Wake and bake. Hashtag wake and bake. Man, I can't do it, dude. I can't. I never could. My brother, man, and my sister, they both freaking, yeah, they were wakers and bakers. I could never do it. I'd be right back to sleep. Sir, would you like some yabba brekkie or kapkalan per brekkie? Would you prefer some purple? Don't get pissed at me if I'm here to say silly shit. I know, brother. I know what you do. Okay. Natural folate found in spinach, Brussels, beans, and oranges. And then here you go. Folic acid, the man-made version in vitamin supplements and like pasta and cereals. Okay. Now you often can't get a decent response out of AI when you say, why is methylfolate better than folic acid? But we can get into it if you guys want to. I don't read the newspapers because they all have ugly print. That's why I don't read your face, Space Cow. Too bad I can't get a starter kit of these supplements. Yeah, I'm working on it, brother. It's gonna be a 6 months or so before I want to put together a program. I want to put together a program. It's gonna be expensive. It's going to be, so if I want to work with a lab, it's $50 to have a vitamin and mineral deficiency test done. So, I mean, I'll pass that on to the customer, right? So if I can start saying, look, you can send fingernails, toenails, hair, or if you want to go to a phlebotomist and get blood drawn, whatever, but fingernails or toenails, right? And then that the fingernails and toenails are better because it's got a lot of history in it to say how things have been over time. So if you show a vitamin deficiency in your fingernails, then it shows that you've been deficient for a long time. If you're deficient for a few days, then you catch up on it and whatnot. So overall, you're still in the good zone. Like that'll be telling. So then from the results of those labs, putting together what that person needs. And this is what doctors should be doing. Yeah. In case you don't know what methylphenidate is, yes, I'm very familiar. Oh, I guess you're telling the people. I'm very familiar with what methylphenidate is, but yep. And Vyvanse, I think Vyvanse is also methylphenidate. 5.2.6 for low dive and 1.7 for high 5. And so is his elect. I left a milkshake in my underwear today. That's good. My wife just got that Fastsaw B12 from your page. Hold on. My wife just got Fastsaw B12 from your page. You here speak the same language. Bam! Me and her speak the same language. Good. We're gonna save the freaking world. Colonel Couture, hospitals will absolutely give you deficiency tests. Just ask them, they'll be happy to help. Right. So B2B was in the hospital for a failing pancreas, and he was on the stream while he's laying in the hospital bed. The next day, they were going to cut into him and remove hunks of his pancreas. And so while he was on the stream, I was like, have them do a vitamin mineral deficiency test. He's laying in the hospital bed, going into surgery the next day, and they said to him, "You look fine." That's crazy. Crazy. I just have boogies in my boogies in my field. Science is trapped nitrogen atoms, diamonds, build quantum machine. There you go. Freaking science. Science. It's interesting how I found out Captain God was like bullshit with some friends. The question came up: what kind of drugs does ISIS and other terror groups use? And it's Captain God meth pill. And her. I've been driving since I was 15, but failed 3 times before he got a license. Because you ain't never done reverse. Probably just like me. I never learned how to park. My brother was 3 years older than me, or is 3 years older than me, so I drive his car a lot. Oak Mill Equestrian. My favorite, Pippi Longstockings. My favorite, what is it you will that remain? What is it to you if I will that he remain? Kelvin Jackson is my moderator. Lovely people. Big Pharma loves us. You know. 6A. At least you got it. Okay, let's see. What was I looking at here? Oh, that's me. Okay. So we'll do this. We'll do 5 answers, dexamethasone. Okay, gotcha. Dude, man, I tell you what. Man, we won't talk about that this stream. We'll talk about that whenever I start a Rumble stream or something. 5 minutes, okay. James A. Tag. Okay, so let's do this. Methyl. There you go. Cool. Okay, folic acid and folate and folic acid are both this is important to understand. Okay, so if you go to the store and you get vitamin B9, you don't know if it could be different chemicals that's in that freaking bottle. Okay, so folate and folic acid are both forms of B9 that helps your body make DNA. Folate occurs naturally while folic acid is man-made. Great, right? But that's where they're stopping. So yes, that's true to this point. But what else could the body do with folic acid? Very happy to meet tonight. I'm gifting you the M word pass. You say what? They told me to take a quick turn. I said, hashtag say to me what you mean. They used to have this trick. Let me see. Right. Okay, here. So the body converts folate in the small intestines, but must convert folic acid in the liver, right? So if you have liver issues, if that's the reason you're vitamin deficient, is because your liver is not doing what it's supposed to do. The folate, but it's more than just that, because there's a process in the liver during the conversion of folate to folic acid to folate. Anyway. The M word pass is Monsuntantanio. Not my favorite word. Sort of field of start photography job. But was he sort of your field start a photography job? You're starting a photography job next week? Yeah, a lot of money to be made in photography still. Tell you what, a lot of money to be made. No N-word passes. No. He was saying the M. So there's a viral video of a dwarf midget, and he was giving out the M-word pass to people, and they were filming the person that the M word pass was given to. Anyway, but yeah, one of those things. M. I don't know. I lost. I don't know what he's talking about. I just repeat it. I just said it. Okay, there we go. That stuff drives me crazy. How Pippi ain't shame on you, Pippi a log stocking? I don't know. Was she? I don't know. Okay, let's see. 81 degrees. 81 degrees still. Okay, let's do this too. Let's go here. Uh, He's trying. Okay, let's see. You want me to know? I'm starting a new job next week. The job photography. I was saying sort of your field because camera shit. Oh yeah, I did a lot of photography. I still have a freaking nice camera. Are chewable vitamins better than ingestibles? So some yes, because some you want to absorb through your mouth, not through your intestines. And that's one thing. Like mine, like these aren't. I mean, you can chew them if you want, but they're sublingual under your tongue. They're the veins and arteries and tissues under your tongue absorb it directly into your. I mean, if you remember from the freaking days. Track survey play FP say Fresno, California was scrib Jay. What's up, Barbara? Welcome back. Welcome back, Barbara. I'm doing good, Barbara. How you doing, Barbara? Just like the process be vitamin C, sunlight converting vitamin D, the process parts S for proper substance. Right. So it's a big chemical process that's required, and the process it can't happen if you're missing particular vitamins or you don't have enough. Then part of keeping you alive can be done, but the thrive part can't be done if you're insufficient in these things. It's really important. Evans because it is. That's right. That's right. You gotta get that saliva out of your mouth. How you doing, girl? What's up, Narnia? James Jonas made a channel called Dirty Bird. Made content. Good. Can you see the full pic of the Old Town Portland, Oregon sign? Thank you, Barbara. Thank you, Barbara. I'm back. I'm back, ladies and gentlemen. Inside of a real human eyeball. I'm not watching that. Jeez. Let's see. Ukraine, hidden brain injuries, Maine lifeguard dragged underwater. Oh, I shouldn't watch this.
There have been more than a dozen shark sightings directly off of the coast of Maine. That includes a close encounter with a local lifeguard.
That lifeguard was pulled underwater by a shark who grabbed the rescue buoy that was tied to his body.
CBS
It must have been him shitting his pants that made the frickin' shark let go.
13's Brad Rogers is live on Scarborough State Park Beach, where it happened around noon on Saturday. Brad, this was a close call.
Yeah, it sure was. The shark apparently thought that the yellow rescue buoy that was attached to a swimming lifeguard was a big fish. So the shark went for that
Oh, it grabbed
instead
the
of the
buoy.
lifeguard possibly saving his life.
It was frightening. I'm not going to deny that.
Lifeguard Greg Wilford
What's up,
and other
Chad?
lifeguards were swimming out on shark patrol when a shark...
Hold on. I'm tuning in from Thailand. Welcome, Chad. My mom is from Maine. Tara? Is she out there swimming by any chance? Big shark. Iconic Portland white slag sign say 28 to 11. Porch Commissioner Randy Laird effort to let somebody acquire ownership of the appliance for blocking the U of O. I understand addiction and shit. But that's not my point. But you talk about bad things and some supplement not wanting random shit in your body. Yet you said you smoked cigarettes, which is random shit. I don't smoke cigarettes. I did smoke cigarettes, yes. Before I found out why I was feeling bad all the time and corrected that, I was smoking cigarettes and drinking and doing bullshit to try to feel better every day. I didn't realize it. I didn't put two and two together until. But yeah, no, I don't smoke. Absolutely not. Yeah. I do not smoke cigarettes. I do not smoke cigarettes. Retirement after this. They're basically the same thing. That's a big ass guard. Like she actually went out there visiting right now. He uses float as bait. Meows. Go back to your soap factory.
pulled him underwater and dragged him by the strap of his rescue buoy.
I was pulled under about 5 feet, and I thought I was caught in the propeller of a boat, because that's the only thing I could think of until I realized there was no boat.
That's when he knew a shark had pulled him under.
And all I
tuning
did was
in
pull
from
off
the
the
shark
strap
stomach.
and get
Yeah,
to the
he got
surface
fired.
and swim as fast as I could in.
When he got back to shore, Wilford immediately ordered the closure of Scarborough Beach to all swimmers. He reopened it an hour later after drones were put in the air to search for sharks, along with 2 lifeguards on a wave runner.
The drones are flying every half hour. They're going up. And when they spot one, we send the jet ski over, and the The sharks don't like the jet ski.
This
Scare 'em
beach is
away?
still on a red
I
and
don't
yellow
know.
alert, meaning
I
swimmers
know
can
you
only
don't
go
anymore. I
waist
said you
deep,
used to smoke
and it
cigarettes
will
around
stay
shit
that
despite
way
you
until
being
sharks are no longer in the area.
yeah, I wasn't. Yeah, it's until you get the education, right? Yeah, I wasn't. I didn't know this. I didn't know all this. I mean, like you think you know everything until you learn more, right? Yeah. So it was one of those things, and right. And I started smoking when I was a teen because it was just and I didn't know nothing about vitamins and minerals back then either, right? So yeah, and then yeah, right. But then and one of the interesting thing about cigarette smoke is cigarette smoke contains cyanides. And one of the big issues why cigarettes are worse for you than other forms of tobacco is because of the cyanides. And cyanide converts methylcobalamin, B12, into cyanocobalamin, also called B12, but it doesn't work in the body. So it can put you, even though they test your blood and you says you have B12 in your body, you might still be deficient because you don't have a form in your body that can be active, that actually works. And this is where these things come into play. It's wackadoo. He looks like someone who get a shark and a full Nelson and elbow drop it. Live, learn. Carl, I could change why I don't live in California. Well, I live in Cali, bro. For a few years ago, I don't live in California. And other and a lot of other chemicals. Yeah. I donated 100
area. Over the weekend, at least a dozen sharks, including great whites, were spotted off Pine Point, Scarborough Beach, and Higgins Beach.
Usually we'll see one or two here and there.
All right, we get the point. John Go Body. There you go. John Go Body. Thank you, brother. Here's your meow. There you go, ND. There you go. There you go. I'm more than a big of money moo cow. Boom. Do you believe the colonel be able? No, you're not getting moderated, you freaking wackadoo. Are you even in the Discord? You're not even in the Discord. What do shadow people do during the solar eclipse? Because there's one in a few days. In a few days. Let's see. In a few days. Next solar eclipse. February 6th, August 2nd, 2027. Hey, in a few days, just like John Gobani did. Except that he was talented, rocking the suburbs. Just like John Gonboli. Damn it. John Gobani did. I'm rocking the suburbs, except that he was talented. I take the checks and face the facts. Some producer with computers fixes all my shitty tracks these days. Yeah. Rocking the suburbs. Solar eclipse is fake. It's a fake moon made by the government so they can change the sun's batteries without us realizing. Everybody knows that you don't ever ask to be modded shows of my position. Yeah. And I told him what to do to try to get it into line, and he didn't do it. He said, I told him to hang out every day for a month, prove himself, and join the Discord, and he didn't do any of that. NDA, I take the checks and face the facts that you don't have any checks. 12 August, partial eclipse, UK, 12 August. Oh, okay, just not a solar eclipse. Next eclipse, UK. Colonel Courtois. Rush the fight. Oh, it's saying it's a solar eclipse up there. Yeah, August 12th. Begins just before 6 p.m. Yes, it reaches maximum coverage 90 to 95. Oh, so I was thinking a total solar eclipse. I make more money in a week than you do in a month, moo cow. Moo cow. Moo cow. All right. Do you believe in love at first sight and why? No, absolutely not. Absolutely, I don't believe in love at first sight, especially nowadays. What do you mean? People don't even believe in love. You're conflating or confusing love and lust. Absolutely not. Just because, yeah, love is something that lasts long term and something that you would give part of yourself for to keep and something that you want to create something with. Not she's freaking hot, dude. She's freaking big. Job or not. ND, were you scared to meet up for a drink? Oh, would you have more merit? I would have more merit than Colonel Courtois. Mukau, can you look yourself in the mirror proudly? Proud Mukau. Become a proud Mukau. I think California scrubs you. I met someone in Copenhagen. I met a mobile game. We had a blast. You could have been Mukau. Could have been Mukau. And you were in another country. Yeah, you should have stopped by. How freaking weak sacked of you, Mukau. How freaking weak uttered, Mukau. Yeah, I don't even drink, and I just stopped by for a drink. He lives near Copenhagen. What, 45 minutes from Copenhagen? Isn't everything 45 minutes from Copenhagen because Denmark's so small? Like Space Cow's udders. All right, let's see. Flight grounded. Mobile passengers try to hijack a plane? Oh, no. Weak uttered.
Tonight, a powerful and deadly 7.4 magnitude earthquake wreaking havoc in western Colombia, taking so many by surprise when it struck early this morning, reducing homes and buildings to rubble. Passengers at this airport holding pillars, bracing during the moment of impact. One man screaming as the shaking intensifies. Outside this hospital in Cali, part of the building collapsing on an ambulance as patients scramble for safety. This woman narrowly escaping falling concrete. Churches damaged across the region, including this one. Watch the cross collapsing from its spire. Now, the urgent search for survivors. Rescue teams removing debris and working quickly to find those still trapped. Authorities say more than 100 people have died. Valerie Ryan from our NBC Miami station is in Bogota.
I was sleeping and I remember the bed shaking back and forth. It was really long, and it's scary because in that moment you have this feeling of, I cannot control this.
The epicenter of the quake, San Jose de
He's in Denmark, where everything's beautiful.
Palmar.
Large forehead.
Nearly 70 miles away in Pereira,
you know
people frantically running.
Foreheads?
In Medellin, Sam Simpson says her family
They wear big hats.
ran for safety.
I am shaking so hard right now.
No, they listen. They've in 1930s they pushed back. In the 1930s, when vitamin D was discovered and it started to clear out the hospitals, that's actually the line they used. It started to clear out the hospitals. So they had to. They did a study on a bunch of college kids. They gave them a bunch of vitamin D, but they gave them hundreds of times more than people were taking. So the kids got sick. So then they said this is a dangerous chemical. It will kill you. It'll poison you, to scare people into not taking it. Then it got so crazy that in up until the 50s, the actual president had to get involved, and then they had to come out with IUs. So they use number psychology. Instead of taking 20 milligrams, they said that's now 1 million units, and 1 million units will kill you. So you're allowed 400 units, which is 1/200th of a milligram. And so people are taking way, way, way too little if they're not getting proper sunlight or conversion. What the heck's right? Yeah, over 100, it said. No matter how many women abuse me,
and recorded this video moments after they felt their high-rise shake.
No, it's asking
So we just grabbed our dogs and held on, and the building was swaying so much. It really felt like it was going to crash.
Tonight, Simpson and her family still reeling as everyone fears if more is on the way.
You know, it's really hard.
Tonight, the focus remains on the search for survivors. Colombia's president says 6 of the country's airports are closed from damage, which will only make getting critical aid into the country that much harder. Tom?
A desperate situation there. George Solis for us. We thank you for watching, and remember...
Yeah, we all got the same freedom as America, except the rights to carry weapons. What about Micronesia? Freedom. All right, let's see. Let's see what's next. Damn. You know, you're gonna hear in like a week or more, they're gonna be finding survivors. You know, it's so crazy. Like you're gonna hear those stories like, I drank my own pee for 11 days. And then there's going to be that one story that the person that was in the cafeteria that it fell in had access to all the freaking sandwiches. What's the tax in Denmark's? It's like 60%. I think it's 52, right? Something like that. Tax on a $45,000 a year job in Denmark. I don't mean that. I don't mean that. Oh, tax. I spelled tax wrong. I also did that wrong too. Okay. $32%. It looks like 32%, and then an additional 8%. So 40%. Municipal tax by town is 24 to 50%. 12%. Okay, so 8% for labor contribution. Oh, you can't see that. 8% for labor contribution, then 12% to personal income, and then 24 to 25%. So 25 of 37. So yeah, like 42%. Ish. I thought you meant something like high like that. Average taxing on your paycheck is 37 to 40%. 115. Inmates have more freedom, still carry guns around. I never said you didn't have more freedoms. I said we have the same except carry guns. Read. Why did L-carnitine get a career in shipping? It's fast and moving fat. Da, 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 da. There's always the chemist comedians in the chat. All right, let's see. Oh man, more freaking. Look at that. It's gonna knock it over. Look at that. That's some serious wind there. Geez, no matter where you live, you're getting taxed. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Yeah, it's not, and that's not that, like, for those Norwegian area, like, countries, that's not that bad. It gets worse. It gets worse. What up, Lord Alcatraz? So you skipped. I didn't see it. Oh, do you recall the location of each cylinder when the engine is at top dead center? Depends. Of each cylinder, all you have, if you're talking about a 6-cylinder, you've got 3 locations. If you're talking about a 4 or 8 cylinder, you have obviously top dead center. Which would be the beginning or the end of the combustion or compression stroke. The end of the compression stroke, and then you have the power stroke, and then the exhaust stroke. Right, I forgot the one that's around 50% when you look it up. Switzerland is up there. Sweden is up there. I moved to Vietnam. No dies. I hear about that nearly 100-year-old church crumbles to 77 more miles. Yeah, that's what we yeah. We just watched it. We just watched it right before you came in. It was the video right before this one. The big issue is that VAT purchases like we pay way more in vehicles in Denmark. Right. So value added tax. We don't have a VAT. So if they get things from other countries, they pay more for that there. It's hard to find a soulmate. Doctors say there are 27 bones in a human hand. That's not number 28. Dun, 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 dun. On a serious note, there's like LCLT powder dissolved in water topically alongside growth products. Hair growth products also increases results by cutting down the time it takes to see results, speed up results. Have you looked at freaking oregano oil and rosemary oil? That's like one of the best things you can say. Seems like you're nervous to say darkies. Give me another name and I'll use it. I'm not helping you light a fire. A lot of bystanders got super close and the picture looked like it could still fall. Yeah, some of the spire fell, but here, let me okay, so here, I oregano oil, rosemary oil, hair loss. Okay, rosemary oil is backed by clinical studies showing potential to improve hair growth similarly to low-strength minoxidil, which is Rogaine. While oregano oil is a potent antimicrobial used to soothe scalp infections and inflammation rather than directly regrow hair. Both must be used with carrier oil. So usually you take a few drops of rosemary and a few drops of oregano mixed in like a tablespoon of coconut oil, and then you can apply that topically. That's probably, so here you go. Rosemary improves blood flow, helps male pattern baldness over 6 months with regular use. Generally safer for longer contact times. Or you can just put it into your regular shampoo. Okay, highly potent and hot essential oil fights fungus, bacteria, and severe scalp inflammation. Should only be left 5 to 30 minutes to avoid chemical burns and severe irritation. But you have to dilute it right here. 2 to 3 drops of either into a tablespoon of carrier, like jojoba, coconut, or olive oil. That's probably the best things like in like India they call it hair fall instead of hair loss. And that's like a huge thing that's used in a lot of people. And I've been telling people about it for probably 15 years now. I've known people that actually got good results. I know a guy who used to have one bald spot in the back of his head. It was like the back. It wasn't the standard male pattern spot. He had like an odd spot on like the side back of his head. And he started using it, and over like the 6 months, but it went from being like bald to having like quarter-inch hairs coming out of it. So it definitely appeared to work there. We trade the right to carry for higher rank in almost every other freedom metric. Lately, deadly fear system that doesn't leave people one medical emergency away from disaster. Yeah, that's going to change here. Priorities calling them same except guns isn't accurate. We don't have to fear being shot by an unstable person with the right to carry. It's a whole other fear that comes with guns. Yeah, but the problem is most people aren't shot by people that have the right to carry. Most people are being shot by people that are illegally carrying. Like it's the propaganda that tries to stigmatize gun in the areas of the United States with the most lax gun laws. You have the lowest gun crimes. It's the areas where it's illegal. It's very difficult for citizens to get guns, where crime families and gangs know that this is where you want to set up shop. There's less chance of bullets coming back at you, and we can grow our own crops as we please. I'm joking about the darkest stuff. On a serious note, I'm an expert on hair regrowth. Hey, well, there you go. There you go. He started using oregano oil and rosemary oil mixed with coconut. So 3 drops of rosemary, 3 drops of oregano oil in a tablespoon of coconut oil, and applying it to the bald spot. Yeah, and he's tried minoxidil pills, I think it was, and minoxidil topical like shampoos. And he said he had it his whole life, and it started to actually there's something about the oregano oil, if it's a fungal infection or something that's keeping the energy, the food supply, or like a parasite that's causing the hair follicle not to trigger it, not to grow, oregano oil can help destroy any fungus or whatnot that might be causing that. And then actual rosemary oil shows to be as effective as low strength minoxidil for hair regrowth over 6 months period. Rich is right. Bam. I thought the freedom to being a self-sustaining, the very limited in the U.S. as well. I mean, so this is the thing, ND, about the states. So the country is different than the states. The states have their own constitutions, and some states make it difficult to live off the land, and some states make it easy. But at being an American, you have the choice to go to one of those other states. So you might not be able to do it where you're at. Like if you're in LA, I mean, well, hold on, that's a different story, because now look at the homeless in LA. They're living on the streets and doing exactly what they want. Anyway, drugs in public and pooping on the ground. So, but yeah, but if like if you're in a state that's not hip to that, you can go to other states that are and still have the support of the military and stuff, and the police force of America if you need it, and the welfare, the social safety nets like Social Security and whatnot. I use a mixture of rosemary oil, peppermint oil for hair growth, along with LCLT and LCLT topical alongside hair growth for 1.5. Oh, there you go. Yes, those are good. You need the coconut oil as a carrier. Right, yeah, don't worry about it. Exactly. Fungal and parasites are most common cause. And I think people really underestimate, because it's not in the zeitgeist, underestimate how important it is to actually check off the list that you don't have parasites. That's the best way to say it. So you don't know if you have them or not. Most people think parasites, poop, you're going to have worms coming out your butthole. Not necessarily true. There are thousands of different types of parasites. And you hear about now all these people having diarrhea from this parasite. You can't see the parasite, but you can tell by the diarrhea, right? So there's a lot of other things, parasites, liver flukes, and freaking, there's lots. The ones that mimic diabetes, the islets of Langerhans on the pancreas are the cells of the pancreas that create insulin, and there's parasites that can live on the pancreas and eat the insulin, so to speak, so it doesn't get to your bloodstream. So if you prick your finger and test your blood, your insulin and your blood sugar is out of control. Oh, your pancreas ain't making insulin. It may be. It may just be, and this is the things that like the first thing a doctor should do with any issue that you have is make sure it's not parasites, and make sure that it's not a vitamin or mineral deficiency. The vitamins and minerals that are required for your body to make the chemical reaction to create insulin, you have to have the proper amounts of vitamins and minerals in your body. So they should check to make sure it's not a parasite that's causing the issue, and they should make sure that you have the precursor chemicals, the vitamins and minerals, so the body can make that. They don't want to do that, I don't think. Because if they say, oh, okay, we give you a couple dollars for the antiparasitics, and now you don't need a life freaking long supply of refills for insulin, gotcha. So some America is about, right. And this is the thing about the news, Andy. The news will only tell you about the worst parts, the sex and the violence, right? Like where shit's bad, you won't hear about. And America's got 350 million people, so you might hear about bad things, 10 times a day, but that's statistically nothing in the broad. It's the absolute best natural regrowth. Onion juice, or add garlic, a bit of apple cider vinegar. Unfortunately, it stinks. Hard to get rid of the smell. Wow. I mean, that seems to make the same kind of sense too, because it would be an antimicrobial. Many people live 5 to 10 acres here. So I live 10 acres myself, and it's cheap. People argue a lot about housing in America. The thing is, there is housing in America. For instance, there's over 50,000 available houses just in Springfield, Ohio, right now. So you could take the 50,000 homeless from Los Angeles and take them to Ohio, and they could all have houses. They don't want to. They want to go there where the weather's nice in California, and they get assistance from the state, and they get access to the things they want access to. Engineers developed a super glue that bonds in less than 10 seconds. Wow. Super glue. Peppermint oil does even better than rosemary oil. It's equivalent to 3.3 to 5% minoxidil combined with rosemary. Yeah, and like this stuff is not old wives' tale. Like what's the stuff they used to call it? No, is it old wives' tales? Not old wives' tales. can't remember the term they used to use, but yeah, old school stuff. Like this is what people used to use. So then you had chemical industry saying, what is it about these compounds that's fixing this in people? So let's find the actual chemicals and see if we can make our version, patent it, and then sell it. And then this old knowledge gets lost. Trey, you came in talking about Denmark don't have the same freedom in America. I think you're misinformed because Denmark is pretty huge on freedom to express yourself and live as you please. We got America. We also drive more than you guys in Europe, where you think you drive stay night. Well, America drive an hour and 2 hours. Yeah, that's true too. But also, America's huge. Also, hormone balance is important. Taking flaxseed and get fenugreek is good for that, and blood flow. So watermelon juice for lycopene. Lycopene's good stuff for you too. Yeah, and I don't think people understand this. Also, and people don't understand. There needs to be a starter pack for the human body taught in schools, not just this wackadoo stuff we're teaching now, kids. Off the math, science, history. They need to know, hey, this is your body. Your body needs these particular compounds to work. And you need to make sure that you're getting them, because the way we do healthcare now is you do whatever you want, and then when that hurts you, you go to a medical system to try to have the symptoms dealt with. And I think we can save a lot of money and like the biggest divide, one of the biggest divides in American politics is the free healthcare thing. The problem is the stuff that comes along with free healthcare now is going to be like open borders and stuff. So we need to find a way to get the very, very free or cheap as we can healthcare to the people without letting the wackadoos that come along with it. And I think that I have an option. I think I have a way to do it. Yeah, at least some important stuff. There's definitely some stuff to change about Danish law, but we got it pretty good. Yeah, you should appreciate where you're at. I know it's good about y'all's justice system. You have the right to fair and speedy trial. Bro enjoys a couple of youngsters. Scientists find 200,000 barrels of radioactive waste in the oceans from dumping. Dun, 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 dun. They find everything. Also, onions are high in sulfur. Yeah. And then you have sulfur drugs, right? So antibacterials, antimicrobials. It's also our system feels very soft because when criminals think some sort of it's too strict. No, brother. What do you mean? We let rapists and murderers go free to do it again and again in some of our states. The prison justice system is way too much of rehabilitation punishment. I don't agree with that in my own system. I'd managed to regrow past my hairline, which is almost impossible. Wow. That's pretty good. And are you profiting off of this? Do you make a product, or do you consult with people that need that assistance? Yeah, that's something if you want to jump on the bandwagon here, I want to try to do something to compete with the current pharmaceutical industry. But tomorrow's crime here, U.S. strict home criminals. I saw it sounds hard. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, it goes both ways. Depends what state you're in, what city you're in, right? 3-strike system that put people in prison for 20 years or brawl is too strict. Also need to find a way. Yeah, there's got to be an in-between. But the problem is our politicians ain't bright, or haven't been. Agree. Health needs to be taught earlier in school, especially hygiene, such as dental care. How dental care is not part of school. I agree. I agree. And I think I know why. Like most people don't even know what vitamin K2 is, okay? And some of the biggest reasons for dental issues, for hygiene, is low vitamin K2. Tooth plaques are a sign of a vitamin K2 deficiency. The gums are trying to remineralize the teeth. We teach people in school that teeth can't remineralize. That's a lie. They absolutely can. So if you don't have enough K2 to activate osteocalcins, then the plaque builds up at your gum line. And then that allows acids and whatnot to sit closer to the teeth inside of that calculus sponge. And but if you take proper amounts of K2, you don't have that. But when you have it on your teeth, you also have it in your brain. You also have it in your plaques in your arteries and in your circulatory system. Vitamin K2 regulates how your body handles calcium. By activating osteocalcin, K2 guides calcium into your bones and teeth, while preventing it from building up and depositing on soft tissues. While it does not brush away existing dental plaque, if there's theories that say proper K2 levels manage mineral balance, so you won't get it. So you don't get that. So then the flossing part to get rid of the plaques isn't as crowded, and that can cause issues also. So the thing, what it appears to be, is that kids aren't getting enough vitamin K2, adults, and they're getting these tooth plaques, which require dental care, which require regular dental visits to scrape that plaque away. And they lie and they say it's because you're spitty, you've got a lot of saliva production. No, it's because you're low in a vitamin that won't allow the body to absorb the calcium that your gums are trying to feed your teeth. It can't bond. And then that calculus holds crap food particles and whatnot, causing the decay. I think something as simple as making sure kids and adults, people, get enough vitamin K2 would knock down, I would say, a shitload, let's say 40% of dental visits. Because I think most dental visits are your regular cleanings, where they conveniently find a carie and need a drill or just, no, I think this is a really big thing. I think it's huge because most people have never even heard of vitamin K2. They think it's that drug K2. And obviously, minoxidil works better. For the only reason I do not use minoxidil is the oils grows wherever you put the oils, and just can slap it on. What I mean is, you just slap it on, like if you slap it on your cheek, you start growing hair out of your cheek. If you slap it on your butt cheeks, it tended to grow pattern. Never is product above. Right, Richard. I showed you the case a few months ago. Yeah. So, and that's not really a thing anymore. But there are cases. There were cases like that, especially coming out of the 90s. Where that reform happened because we had a lot of gang violence, but other people got caught up in that. It was meant to go after gangs that did gang stuff, but other people got caught up in it. Andy Beach of Pablo got caught 6 grams of coke, 10 years, while 3 pedophile only gets a month in jail. About the bullshit. Yes, I am. Me too. I would too. No, I didn't, but I would. I didn't, but I would. I'd vote for him in 2028 now. I mean, I don't have to, but at what's going on now, especially if I get word back from this administration to help in what I want to do with what I've been speaking about here, and I've sent contact off to the Maha people. If they'll allow me my time to speak, and without a doubt, I'll vote Republican. And I'm not open. I don't want the border open again. I don't want the border open again. But I want cheap healthcare. So if I can help the Democrats with better healthcare, cheaper healthcare, get as close to free healthcare as we can get, and not allow the DSA to open the border to say, hey, we'll give you free healthcare, but we're also opening the border so we can give free healthcare to everybody. That just means it'll overwhelm the healthcare system, and everybody will still be sick. They're not taking care of the food system and whatnot. So I'm just not willing to do that. Whatever crimes have been committed and whatnot, you got to protect the people. I was consulting one person and decided to use finasteride. I didn't profit off. I experimented. I said, okay. Experiment. Self-experiment. Do you recall your favorite Supertramp song? Yes, I do. I do recall my favorite Supertramp song. And it was actually Supertramp. I think it was the drummer wrote the theme song to Police Quest or Space Quest from Sierra Online back in like the late 80s, early 90s. Supertramp musician Sierra Online. Let's see if I can find it. There you go. Supertramp, a drummer Bob Steinberg composed the original MIDI soundtrack for the 1989 hit Space Quest 3, The Pirates of Pestilon. After finding an ad in the project of his local Oakhurst newspaper. Yeah, boy. Yep. What's up, Robert? They also found a Catholic with the first gum disease. They also had of other stuff. I'm telling you, brother, join the Discord. It's pinned in the chat. I'm working. I'm trying to. I think over the next 2 years, if I can get the right ears there could be an absolute revolution for how health is handled in the United States. And I think there's billions of dollars available to do so. Man, listen, just think about the people that run into addiction. Think about the people that are vitamin deficient all the time. Even one vitamin, just B12, they're deficient and they feel bad. They feel anxious. They feel depressed all the time, which is a side effect of low vitamin B12. A lot of the B vitamins. So, and they just don't feel good all the time. So then they do a drug because they're like, I'm depressed anyway. And then if they don't do that drug, they're still in vitamin deficiency. So they want to keep doing it over and over again. How many more people would avoid that? And then that would take a big stress off. But then again, there's somebody, if somebody's on drugs and they're addicted to drugs, somebody's going to be there to sell it to them. And if it's not legal in America, then it's coming from across from across the world or out across the border to get here. And then there's prostitution and everything that comes along with that, and human trafficking that comes along with all that. I think getting people healthy is the first start to ending a lot of this stuff. K2 deficiency, so I just spoke about it. Exactly. And I think there's a reason that they name stuff that. Right, like I think it's to obfuscate the actual vitamin. There's a natural dentist on YouTube that the flossing can be bad, and that's one of my points too. Why would you want to do that? If it can damage the connective tissue, the gums should almost connect to the teeth so that the calcium can be absorbed into the teeth. So if you're flossing and you're physically removing, it's like the cuticle on the nail, like how you shouldn't have access into the finger this way. There should be kind of like a seal. And I think flossing can disrupt that, which gives more room for the plaque to grow. Yeah, so I mean, this is just all me in my head. I don't have freaking $1 million worth of studies, but it makes sense to me. Combat laws. Okay, I'm way far behind. Texas invented mutual combat. Do you know the absolute best way to have a good dental health? Eat raw vegetables, juice them. You have to raise 24/7, pH above 7, 7.8. Most people are 5.5 to 6. I did not know that. Don't forget to like and subscribe. What up, John? Real life look like a boy from Jungle Book. Disney movie. I'm cute. As a Canadian, I'd vote for Trump. Draws. I was stabbed once outside of a nightclub. Person had a gun. I might have been dead now. It's fair fact about gun laws, in my opinion. Mowgli is one of my nicknames. I'm just wild. No matter how often you brush your teeth, if you're sitting in acid saliva all day, or an animal will weaken and harbors more dangerous bacteria, won't survive in 7.5, just like fish tanks. I can agree with a lot of this stuff, right? Right. I can agree with a lot of this stuff. So what I would also wonder what okay, all right. Let's see what we can find just with the AI without any much. What up, Dr. Wiener? Space Quest. I remember. I remember Sequest, the movie. Cutie pie. I'll let you guys talk about that. I say saying oils have the precise application to get funky growth beyond Mother Nature extended. Minoxidil grows everywhere you put it. I doubled my trading account. Feeling strange. Waiting on that super chat, Dr. Wiener. A little known fact: antibiotics can harm vital yes, absolutely. Here's why: when you eat food, there's bacteria in your gut that disassemble that food and move those vitamins and minerals across your gut wall. So if you don't have those bacteria, you're not absorbing certain vitamins and minerals from your food. So antibiotics can kill a lot of bacteria indiscriminately. Sometimes it kills the good bacteria and the bad. I'm doing good, brother. Sexual assault cases went through the verbal altercations. Also went through the issue. I've seen a few times. Yeah, it's just crazy. Gangrene. You got plenty of vitamin D with that big old... Oh, you swaggin'. There's a point I say I'm dying. I need antibiotics. Yeah, sure. Yeah, these tools need to be used properly. I think a lot of them are overused. A lot of people, they go to the doctor when they have a cold, and the doctors will give them antibiotics because they just want something. And then while they're waiting for the antibiotics to work, which aren't going to work on a virus, make methylfolate mandatory in school foods. I agree. B12? What if I was B12? What up, it's all? Yeah, I'd like to think it's pretty interesting. If you like natural dentistry, Dr. Ellie Phillips here on YouTube is pretty solid, though. I don't agree all that she says. Yeah, I mean, I'll have to look into it. I'm going to copy and paste that. Dr. Phillips. Paste. I was not being serious. Gargle with baking soda to get rid of it. You could absolutely do that. Yeah, you could absolutely do that. That'll cancel out the acids. My goodness, my dentist said back molars destroyed by taking antibiotics when they were forming. Yeah, I've heard about antibiotics destroying teeth enamel. I mean, you think about the bacteria in your mouth that are helping the teeth, and also does the osteocalcins and antibiotics. Osteocalcins is a non-collagenous protein hormone by osteoblasts, bone-forming cells. So it's very well. Standard ACEs do not acutely alter serum osteocalcin or bone turnover marker levels. Okay. Animal studies suggest gut microbiome changes can influence bone turnover. So that's probably what it was. It was you during the antibiotics, the parts that are required from the absorption from your gut, from the gut bacteria that were killed from the antibiotics, wouldn't allow you to get the proper absorption for the teeth to be developed or pushed through. Isn't it fascinating the rest of the world doesn't have rednecks? Not true. Not true. Have you ever seen the history of the redneck? It starts in England. Yeah, it starts in England, especially redneck talk and whatnot, which is which is considered Ebonics, was old school Southern rednecks, which started in the south of England. Yeah, Thomas Sowell, he's got a book about that. Thomas Sowell, rednecks. Black rednecks, white liberals. Traces its roots of redneck cracker culture to Scotch-Irish immigrants who settled in the American South. So it was basically, I guess it wasn't England, but whatever. Scotch-Irish immigrants, they had that language, and that redneck language turned into Ebonics. And which is interesting now, there's a lot of talk about how Ebonics started because of white supremacy, but it's exactly the opposite. It's just it has nothing to do with white supremacy. It's just the way people talk that ended up hanging around with people talk. They were poor, they hung out with poor people, and there ended up being 62 or Denmark's not currently at US 25 to life, meaning you do 25 and possibly parole up to 25 years. The poll, yep, that's true. Have an appeal to keep the kids take a bunch of vitamins, mineral electrolytes, nicotine, grind up gum, get them hooked up with Vita vapes. We'll decide if they're eligible at 16 years. Do something crazy. Serial murderers won't get out for 50 years. Hi, I'm going to a 36-hour shift at the ER. Good luck, brother. 36-hour shift. Damn. Yeah, you got it, brother. My husband and I work at the same hospital. He's a doctor. I'm a nurse. Man, 36 hours. You get an hour and a half nap time. What is it? Every 2 hours, you get 20 minutes or something like that, and then you get an hour and a half. Earthquake has been predicted by Somaliland scientists. Yeah, he said that a lot. Rednecks keep the U.S. churning out no Europeans. Kind of soft now. 16 to life. Thomas Sowell and the Black Redneck. Yeah. It's pretty interesting. It's pretty interesting what you learn about the world if you read enough. Yeah, we're gonna save the world here. Depends on how busy we get, how much time we get. Oh yeah, okay, I guess that makes sense. If you got someone's chest cracked open, I'm gonna take a 20. I'm gonna go out for a cigarette. I need you to apply pressure. The femoral. Yeah. I make jokes. It says, would that be extra illegal? Extra illegal, they have an ironclad agreement with the writing that will not give them the death penalty. LWOP, okay. Life without parole. LWOP. Emphasis on if you read enough. Emphasis. Man, I went right through it. We're at 2 hours already. And like you hear about how there's a lot of kids that cannot read. It's almost that they're embarrassed to. So they're not, they're not going home and cracking open a book, So they're never gonna learn that. Let's see. Oops. Wire. What's that say? Long step developed for humanity, Italy. Yeah, rednecks reading. Yeah, of course. And they talk to the victim's family and stuff like that. It's called victim impact statements. And if they did anything else while they were in jail, any escape attempts, any drug use or violence in jail. We all put all these tobacco products, make them people taking them. How come we don't have similar and got people hooked them? And it's marketing. It's marketing. It's how it's marketed to kids. Like when I was in high school, they were starting to put soda machines, like Coca-Cola machines and stuff in high school, and that was a big thing. They weren't allowed in there before because you don't want kids get. But it says, okay, school is where we learn how to be adults, and this is what adults do. They drink Coca-Cola. They freaking this is especially when you're talking about the sex stuff these days. They're teaching kids about adult things. And that's marketing into a young mind. It's molding a young mind. So if you teach them, the only thing they really teach them about their health is if you get sick, go to the doctor. And if you don't have a free doctor, then it's because a conservative made it that you had to pay money or some wackadoo shit like that. So it's got to be there should be a day or two taken out of the school year to let kids know the importance. This is your body, this is how it works. You've heard of serotonin, you've heard of dopamine. Well, how does that get made? What vitamins do you need to make sure you have to make sure these neurotransmitters get made? Well, that's this vitamin, and this vitamin. It bonds with this mineral and does this and does that. Very quick of but at least plant the seed so they understand that when they go talk to the doctor and they say, oh, you have a chemical imbalance in your brain, you don't have enough serotonin. I remember in health class, you need B12 to make serotonin. That's right. But we're not going to give you any or check for your B12 levels. We'll just put you on some SSRIs. Maybe we should. That's what we need to be done. Think about how important pH is to gardening, fishing, swimming pools, all to own health. We need about 7.5 urine slabs. Well, right. Well, and think about like things that get pH gets out of whack, like on the ladies, that things can get wackadoo, right? And it's pH is very important. What can grow? What can develop? When you do chemistry, and this is what the body is, it's a big old box of chemistry. You need to have certain things at certain levels. You obviously have higher pH in the stomach or lower pH in the stomach. And in different places throughout the intestines, as the stomach empties the intestines, you're gonna have more acidic, so lower pH in the small intestine, and as it goes through, the pH changes throughout as the bolus turns into feces. So yes, that stuff needs to happen, absolutely. But why? Why do you have the acidity in your mouth? Is it that you're missing things that would convert that? And this is what comes back to my main point. Your body needs to have the things. If your body needs to make more acidic or more basic components through whatever process, if you don't have the precursor chemicals, the vitamins and minerals to make them, then that's when you get that high or low pH is a symptom of something going wackadoo. And now the first thing you should check is what it needs. Yeah, absolutely. Rock. SSRIs will give you HPPD. Yep. Bad shit. Blood is 7.35, 7.45. It takes 0.2 or like it was all in death. That's how important. It's very important. Very important. A lot of adults can't read or write in America. Right. And that's freaking insane because we told them for freaking a bunch of years that just sit back, kick your feet up, everything will be fine. We'll pass you because no child left behind. Yeah, I have to go to bed. Drive to it. Good talk. Good talk, brother. Good to see you, ND, brother. A lot. I brought up that people can't drive in China. Yeah, health is chemistry. Yeah, yes. Right. But and when you talk to doctors that aren't chemistry professionals, and the thing is, if you go to a general doctor to get on SSRIs and shit, they're not even nutritionists. You can't even talk to them about vitamins. They'll be like, and then you have to pay to go to a nutritionist, or a dietitian. That's not the way it should be. You've only do 3 types of things for your body: pray/meditate, eat/drink, and exercise/be mobile. Like that's it. That's the 3 things you do for this thing that you're driving around this planet. The things that the body needs for the chemistry is what you get from your food. So if you're not getting it from your food, and then if your pH is out of whack, then the chemistry can't happen to extract the vitamins and minerals and proteins from the food you eat. Yeah, it's pretty straightforward. It just seems like that's racist. HPPD for 10 years. Damn. Have you looked into N-acetylcholine? There's I seen some very interesting stuff about N-acetylcholine and HPPD. Robert, my typos goes autocorrect is what I'm working proofreading here. Coca-Cola's poison ass tea. Yeah, it's horrible. It's horrible for you. It ain't even got cocaine in it anymore. What's the use? Yes, if you're low in vitamins and minerals, you'll be acidic. Right. Raised by pH by juicing and vegetables. Right. So the pH difference is a symptom that you don't have the proper things that the body needs to correct that symptom. And medicine today is symptom control, not prevention. Hardly at all, or correcting the issue. Whatever issue has, it's like, oh, now you're retarded, or now you're autistic, or now you're this, or now you've got GERD. Not what caused the GERD and how do we stop it? How do we cure it? No, because they want you to take something every day for the rest of your life. What's up, Robert? What's up, the core brother? What up, Talent? Everybody coming in. Hit the like button as you're on your way in. No, you have, N-acetylcysteine, NAC. What's up, Walrus brother? NAC, N-acetylcysteine. N-acetylcysteine. Not fetal cysteine. N-acetylcysteine. Had to work. Understood. Right here, N-acetylcysteine. I can't drink soda. It makes you feel like shit. Yeah, that's what's up. We went through. We've been through a bunch. What's good? What's good? What's good, Just Edits? Eat a real deal. Stomach disagrees. It's not correct. 3 days I pray. Eat exercise. And 4th thing is okay, N-acetylcysteine. Okay, let me see here. Let's see if we can find her. You're going to have me say wackadoo. Well, if you start saying wackadoo, go to 110thgrade.com and get you a wackadoo shirt or a wackadoo hat. $16. All right, let's see. Where was I at? What did I miss here? What's up, the car? Has there never been a fit birds? Why is there never any fit birds on YouTube Live? I don't know. They're on the freaking OnlyFans. Where did I miss here? Okay. Okay. All right. Here. N-acetylcysteine is sometimes tried anecdotally by individuals with hallucinating persisting perception disorder. It helps regulate brain glutamate levels and acts as an antioxidant. There are no large trials proving it works. Any medical data remains very limited. How it might affect the brain. Glutamate regulation. NAC works on the cysteine glutamate antiporter, which may help normalize extracellular glutamate linked with neuronal overexcitation. Bam! I'm not happy. Thank you. I'm not happy. I'm not thankful you're not happy. It's amazing what dude survival, Coke soda, good beer, house soda. That iron guts. Puerto Rico's in trouble. Yeah. Yo, please call my friend Ben Wasteful for not eating all her cake after hoarding it at dinner. Man, Ben, you're freaking wasteful. How dare you? You didn't eat all the cake? Man. Venereal discharge. Venereal discharge. Surviving on Coke and soda. For example, okay, hold on. What? Wow, PhD chronic for possession of visual disturbances such as source of Jewish or motion trails long as you. Yep. Yes, for example, drinking baking soda or water off to enough relieve symptoms, improve dental health, but it's addressing symptoms, not the cause. Right. And if you swallow it, you get a lot of gas because it gets into your stomach and reacts with stomach acid, makes a lot of hydrogen. So the thing is, you give the body what it needs to fix the issue. Almost every symptom, in my estimation, almost every symptom we have is because of a deficiency. Two things. There's either a parasite or bacteria or virus, something in you that shouldn't be, or something that should be in you that isn't, like vitamins and minerals, water. Yeah, it doesn't seem to be as difficult. Hallucinogen persistence. Yeah, a lot of people has talents. What I have described LSD casualties. Yep. I have essential tremor. Is it curable? So some people it is, some people isn't. So when I talk about vitamin B12 all the time. So tremor here. Look. Vitamin B12 deficiency and tremor. Not trimmer. Vitamin B12 deficiency can harm your nervous system and cause involuntary muscle movements, shakings, or tremors. It happens. Low B12 damages the protective covering of your nerves, which is called the myelin sheath. So it's basically like nerve insulation, like wire insulation. And if that insulation, as it's supposed to be replaced, like daily, momently, every moment, it's constantly degrading and rebuilding. If you don't have enough B12, it makes it thinner. It doesn't have enough of the chemicals to make the rubber, which is cholesterol actually, over it. So if you don't have enough cholesterol in your diet and you don't have enough B12, it can't make that. Then the electrochemical signal can jump to other nerves, causing short circuits, which can cause tremor. Say, okay. While rare, tremors can improve with proper B12 shots or high dose supplements. So I take, and they're not available where you're at, but this right here, 5,000 micrograms. That's 5 milligrams, which is 200,000% a daily vitamin B12. So baking soda helps people with heartburn, but for teaspoon yellow mustard. Jeez, baking soda is the best thing to use when cooking a the pure rock. A teaspoon of yellow mustard gets rid of heartburn for me. Lakewood, New Jersey was a beautiful place. We know what happened. Ocean Country's next New Jersey. Never heard of that one. Burns. Go down quickly. One disclaimer: increasing serotonin, whether it's supplements or medication, you need to be careful. As much serotonin can cause serotonin syndrome, which can kill you. Absolutely. So who had say HPBD for 10 years? Does that mean doing acid or micro? No, it means that he did it and then was injured by it. Like so he basically caused serotonin syndrome or like effects. Let's continue. Bam! Dun, 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 dun. Blue rain. I think it's genetic because my mom and brother have it also. Right. So you guys might all eat like crap, or there could be something genetically. If you haven't had your genetics tested, you can't know. But you guys eat the same. You probably share the same pets, which means you share the same parasites, or you eat the same type of foods and spices that may damage your gut bacteria. And if you don't have the stuff in your gut called intrinsic factor, you can't absorb B12 from your food or swallowed pills. That's why having something that's absorbable under the tongue or a shot, an injection, is the only other way to get it in you properly. Yeah, but you can't just roll your eyes and say, well, mom's got it too. No. I'm telling you, there's reasons that could be, and you need to find out why it is. Microdosing does not cause complications. Basically, harmless problem with dose goes large. Yeah, that's what I would say. Not microdosing, right? I would say the same thing. Bam, Blu-ray, throw in jewels. I don't know if there's so I think as far as I know right now, the only way to overdose on B12, and there is no upper limit for how much B12 that somebody can take. But if people take it intravenously, you can put too much B12 in the system at one time. But as far as I know, and all the research I've read, and whatnot, eating it, like you can't eat too much of it. Your body will just pee out any extra. The only way you can get too much in your blood, as far as I know, is injecting it into your blood. So if you take a lot and it's much more than the body needs, it just flows out your pee hole. B12 top level. Vitamin B12 blood level, hypercholemia is anything above. So it's got to get to the bloodstream, and it's got to be above that. Usually harmless if by supplements or diet. Unexplained levels can have underlying like liver, kidneys, or blood. Like if like there's people that drink a lot of alcohol and they go get bags of saline and vitamins infused into their IV for hangover remedies. And if they do that a lot, they're getting a lot of vitamin B12 right in the vein. But if you take it by supplements or whatnot, the liver's going to convert and store what it needs and not with the rest. Just pee it on out. Let's see. No, sir. No, sir. Problems alongside overdose B is if you get too much of it, it causes overabundance of potassium, which lead to brain damage and coma. Well, it depends what B, right? There's multiple B vitamins. He's probably talking about B6. There's a woman that had, or 9. 6, B6. There's a woman that happened, I forgot her name. Her husband wanted to lay off life support. Family kept her on for a long time. She overdosed on B. There's a lot of different B vitamins, and there's a lot of different forms of B vitamins. So that's important. That's important to understand. So if you take something like cyanocobalamin, which is lab made B12, that can cause issues because there's cyanide. It's cyanocobalamin. There's cyanide connected to the cobalamin. It's made in a lab artificially. But natural cobalamin, natural B12, it's very, very difficult to do that. So cyanocobalamin, that version of B12 can enter the liver, breaks the cyanide off. So now per molecule, you have a cyanide floating in your body, and then the cobalamin converts it to methylcobalamin for the cells to use. And if you take a lot of that, then there's a lot of cyanide in your system. So that's not from the B vitamin. That's from the cyanide from the artificial B vitamin that you take. Did you see the video? A woman sickle cell went to the hospital, asked for Dilaudid shot and Benadryl. The nurse says, try to get high on Benadryl. Fired. No, I forget what her name was. Long enough I can remember it. Fermented foods have B12. Not usually. That's K2. A lot of fermented foods have K2 in it. B12 from beef, eggs, and there's no vegetable sources of it. That's incorrect. It was not cyanide that killed her. It was overabundance of potassium by too much vitamin D. Which B vitamin? Which B vitamin? There's lots of B vitamins. Let's see. Okay, so an overabundance of potassium by too much B vitamin. Okay. Which B vitamin causes too much potassium overdose? No B vitamin causes too much potassium. Yeah, it's definitely not a B vitamin. B vitamin doesn't even work with potassium. B12 does the opposite. It pulls potassium into the blood cells and damages dangerously low. Overabundance. Yeah, that's not a B vitamin. Yeah. So maybe they took a B complex with potassium in it, like a 1 a day type thing that had a lot of potassium in it. No B vitamin. No B vitamin does that. Yeah, that's what I would. Yeah, okay, all right. Potassium administration, hand tremors. Okay, direct dietary. Okay, so herbal supplements can cause it. Taking potassium supplements or potassium salts can do it. When the body takes in more potassium, then the kidneys can clear out. Yeah, so B6 is the only vitamin that you really want to avoid, and 3 is niacin. And but niacin gives you a flush. It's why they add it to energy drinks to make you feel something. So you drink an energy drink that's got niacin, and you can feel your skin kind of get warm. It's called a niacin flush. And then you're like, wow, I got energy, and you keep buying it, but it's just that it gave you a vitamin, because most people are vitamin deficient. So when they take something, they get a boost of vitamins, they get a feeling from it, but of them, their deficiency being corrected. But if it's a type of the vitamin that doesn't absorb properly in the body or gets converted quickly because it's like a man-made version, you like the cyanocobalamin. You take a lot of energy drinks that contain cyanocobalamin because it's cheap. The cyanide breaks off, and the cyanide breaks off. The cobalamin converts to methylcobalamin. You get that energy boost, but a lot of that cyanide can recombine with the methylcobalamin, converting it back to cyanocobalamin, and then it doesn't activate. So you get a little boost of energy that goes down, which makes you want to buy another energy drink. She said, if I was trying to get high, I would ask her for more Dilaudid, not Benadryl. I get it at the store, and I heard of Benadryl being used for sickle cell. It's kite flying season. Yeah, most B vitamins are water soluble and flushed out if excess amounts. Mega doses can accumulate or cause distinct problems, but that's like, I did eat a lot of sardines, and that's fresh and rich in different B vitamins. Yeah, but it's not just once. It's not just once. This is daily amounts. How many times did you not eat B vitamins? Right? So are you saying the past 365 days you ate sardines every day to get enough B vitamins every day? This is the problem. The problem is there's amounts your body needs daily, and if you miss a few days, a few weeks, a few months, you've been deficient. The whole time your body's trying to repair itself, it doesn't have what it needs to do that. I remember juvenile delinquent probation, middle school and high school, all these idiots would take a bunch of niacin, and they said, because I'll be passed clean for my urinalysis. Yeah, maybe these delinquents thought niacin was going to flush their system. Because of niacin, because of niacin flush. Yeah, it doesn't work like that. Doesn't work like that. Right, yeah, so the interesting thing on the, all right, you're talking about daily intake, not like you just take one, right? Yeah, daily intake. So you have daily recommended allowance, the amount your body needs on a daily basis, and this is what this goes back to what I always talk about. Who makes sure that you get 100% of your vitamin A you needed yesterday, today, the day before, the day before, the day before? How about the B vitamins? Nobody does. Nobody does. And we wonder why so many people end up needing health care. It's like it makes sense that nobody's getting what they need. Woman's name was Terry Schiavo. I remember Terry Schiavo. All right, hold on, we'll look it up. I remember Terry Schiavo. Okay. All right, Terry Schiavo case. Okay, Terry Schiavo court legislative action that permanent vegetative state. How did legal argue that Schiavo did not want prolonged artificial life source to challenge argument player play? Okay, what happened? Schiavo went into cardiac arrest. She was resuscitated, severe brain damage, left comatose. 2.5 months later, diagnosed resistant vegetative for 2 years. Doctors with experimental therapy, cortifier. All right, well, let's just do a search for B vitamins. Vitamin. The word vitamin. Oh, you can't see what I'm looking at. The word vitamin's not even in the list. Okay, let's see. Terry Schiavo and B vitamins. Yeah. Terry Schiavo did not collapse due to B vitamin deficiency. She suffered cardiac arrest by hypoglycemia, which doctors attribute from the eating disorder and bulimia. Where are you getting that information from? Listen, brother, if somebody wrote a blog saying that doesn't make it true. Sorry, I betrayed you and I went to watch Babes streaming. Her name was Terry Shaw, which I had passed. No, okay, well, you're incorrect. What up, Stevie? On a scale of 1 to 2, how racist are you? They all be on same class. Overexposure to B12 causes very sensitive. Yeah, I don't see where you're getting that from, brother. Just because you don't know about something does not make it untrue. I understand that. I understand that. But it says that she died from dangerously low potassium right here. So you're telling me she died from high potassium, and it says here she died from low potassium from her eating disorder. So which one is true, my friend? Remember Matthew Shepard? No, I don't think so. Rich don't know the internet. It's true, 100%. We need to figure out this mail situation. They say, yeah. I stopped by yesterday. It wasn't there. Yeah, I said it. Yes, we all remember false Matthew Shepard. All right, so tell me now about the Terry Schiavo B vitamin thing again, brother. Just give me the name of the news outlet that gave you that information. I'll go there and check for it. Yes, it looks like she said medical evidence testimony indicated she struggled with bulimia, leading to electrolyte and potassium depletion. Terry Schiavo, potassium dysmorphia. Okay. There is no medical or historical evidence linking Terry Schiavo's potassium deficiency or 1990 to B exposure, brother. The good thing about B12 is only absorbed in our body among the bees, but this can be wrong if there's excess of B12. So there could be an excess of B12 if you inject it into the vein. The water-soluble vitamins, if you take it orally, will take what it needs, and the rest you'll pee out. Aunt Catherine needs vitamins. She said the official 2005 autopsy noted that emergency resuscitation drugs and fluids might have skewed the readings. So that might be what you're talking about, brother. They might have pumped a shitload of B vitamins into her body to try to save her because she was so severely deficient. But that's not what would have caused the problem. That's not the way that B vitamins work at all. So that could have been a thing. She was so severely bulimic that they pumped a bunch of vitamins into her body, into her bloodstream. So that would have showed high levels in her bloodstream. But that's not what would have caused it. Yeah, this doesn't even have B vitamin, missing B vitamin, missing vitamin exposure, missing vitamin exposure, missing vitamin exposure. And it looks like he read the opinion of a blog. Yeah, that's what it sounds like. Oh, and this is the problem about the internet. Right. So if someone wrote a blog, they believe that happened. They write it in, and then that could be. It looks like a news page, but no, that's not the way the B vitamins work. It's not the way potassium works. But it could have showed up like if someone looked at the result of her autopsy and saw a lot of B vitamin in there, there's a reason that it was there because she was bulimic and she went into a coma. So they're trying to correct that by giving her body the vitamins and minerals it needs IV. And then when she dies, those B vitamins are still in her blood. So they would find very high levels of that. So that would make sense why someone would write that story. But it's not true. It's not true. It's not how B vitamins works. It's not how potassium works. She died from low potassium, not high potassium. Somebody wrote that trying to get clickbait and putting a false side out to start back and forth so that people in the chat would say, no, she didn't die of B vitamins, creating more engagement. People lie, they rage bait, and they clickbait. This is the type of stuff that happens. So you take something that absolutely exists. Terry Schiavo died from low potassium. You write a story saying it was from high potassium. You look through the paper, it says they had B vitamins in her bloodstream. You say excess B vitamins in the bloodstream caused too much potassium. Then people come in and they read that and that's completely wrong. That's not how B vitamins work at all. So they get in the chat and they say the B vitamin it doesn't do that. And people are like, I had 10,000 people comment on this. People do it with misspellings. Or calling R2D2 C3PO, just so pissed off people will correct it in the chat. No, it's not true. It's just not true. It's not true. Yeah, emergency resuscitation drugs could have skewed the blood readings. That right there makes sense to me. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. It's not the way. It's not what B vitamins handle. B vitamins don't do that to potassium. You can't make the chemistry happen just because I haven't heard of it. Yeah, potassium's important, magnesium's important, calcium's important, but you don't want too much calcium. This is why K2 is important. So, like vitamin D3 pulls calcium out of the intestines into the bloodstream. Vitamin K2 takes it out of the bloodstream and soft tissues and puts it into the bones and the teeth. So if you have too low of vitamin K2, then that calcium builds up, makes your arteries stiffen and whatnot because there's too much calcium in there. Okay, let's see. Okay, mysterious black goo of Venezuela. DI higher by space and woke black NBA players lashes out. Trump has cooked another lie that covers previous lie. I would ask why Iran's still able to launch missiles and drones to escape. At least the new lies are coming from afar, coming from too far in. What? Trump has cooked up another previous lie, covers lie, launch missiles, drones, if they're destroy their capabilities, new lie. Who knows? Supposedly, we didn't hit their missile capabilities. We launched deeper with Iran. Please turn up your mic volume. La 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 la. There you go. How about that? Okay, there you go. Okay, flight grounded 800 gigabytes. What? Of memory for free? Of history. Oh. Chinese rocket literally burnt under pressure.
Hello, it's Scott Manley here. Today, a Chinese Long March 7A rocket suffered a spectacular failure about 80 seconds into the flight. The only footage we have is from amateurs on the ground, but we see some pretty spectacular fireballs emerging from this vehicle early on in the flight. And based on footage that we've seen, it looks like this is a failure near max Q and very likely was a result of a structural failure in the rocket. In short, the front fell off.
Holy
so
crap,
the Long March 7A is one of China's more modern rockets. It uses kerosene liquid oxygen as a propellant. And the initial Long March 7 essentially had 4 boosters strapped around a core and a second stage, and it was mainly used for launching the Tianzhou spacecraft to China's space station. That is the cargo spacecraft. The Long March 7A is an evolution which is designed to carry payloads to geostationary orbit. It keeps the same basic first stage and boosters, it shortens the second stage and then adds a third stage which is burning liquid oxygen and liquid hydrogen, and that gives it the capability of putting payloads up into geostationary orbit. Now, we don't actually know what payload was being carried on this flight, but it's believed that this was a military geostationary communications satellite of some sort. Interestingly, a lot of the footage we have of the Long March 7A comes from amateur sources because they don't release public video of a lot of the sources because it's usually carrying sensitive payloads. And also, this particular piece of footage is a rare daytime launch. Almost all the Long March 7A launches I've seen actually happen at night, so you're also dealing with lighting conditions which don't really show the launch vehicle itself. Now, this is not the first time a Long March 7A has had a failure. It actually failed on its very first flight due to a fuel pressure issue in one of the boosters. That meant that during stage separation, the spacecraft skewed around and apparently damaged the second stage, and the second stage was unable to reach orbit and ultimately failed as a result. The Long March 7, by comparison, seems to have been far more successful. So this is a launch of a Tianzhou spacecraft to the Chinese space station. Again, notice this is a shorter version, but it maintains the same back end with the same 4 strap-on boosters. These are powered by, again, YF-100.
He said strap
kerosene, oxygen, stage combustion engines. They generate about 125 tons of thrust. And importantly, this engine design is used across the Chinese rocket fleet from Long March 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 12. It's everywhere. So, when we saw this failure, we were wondering whether it was going to be an engine problem. Because an engine problem could have dramatic knock-on effects for the rest of the Chinese rocket fleet. But as we saw from that footage earlier, this was a structural failure in the rocket. That's a very different kind of problem. It's almost certainly just confined to that specific rocket. It's probably only affecting the Long March 7A, not even the Long March 7. Now, based on previous flights, we would expect the first stage and the boosters to operate for about 3 minutes, whereas this ended up failing around 82 seconds into the flight. What we don't know is when we expect max Q to happen. Max Q is basically the maximum aerodynamic pressure. As a rocket ascends and gets faster and faster, the aerodynamic drag increases on it. But at a certain point, the fact that it's getting higher and higher means the air density is dropping. And so the dynamic pressure or the drag starts to drop. And so the point where this meets, where this curves over, is called max Q, maximum aerodynamic pressure. And because this is the point of maximum stress on the launch vehicle, it's quite common for rockets to throttle down their engines or shut off something or make some changes to the flight profile to reduce the impact on this and give them extra structural margins. Consider that there's something like 700 tons of thrust in this stage, and the acceleration visibly drops off as it goes through the sound barrier because of the amount of aerodynamic drag. That means there are hundreds of tons of aerodynamic drag acting on this thing, and this will be designed to carry the forces through the structure. But if the forces perhaps aren't applied correctly, then you've got hundreds of tons of thrust that can act to bend the rocket. And we've seen this in Kerbal Space Program, right? The whole wobbly rockets thing is actually a legitimate thing that happens, right? And while real rockets will flex and bend under the loads, it's rare to see them absolutely break in half like we saw in this case. And once the structure starts to fail, it fails very rapidly. So this is very clearly bending at the interstage between the second and the third stage. And that stage very obviously disintegrates into a fireball right away. And I think that the second stage immediately goes up as well. But while this looks pretty catastrophic, I think that the core and the boosters are still sort of held together and still flying at this point. Because a few seconds later, out of this massive conflagration, you can very clearly see the rocket booster emerging with fire still coming out of those nozzles for a few more seconds until it explodes. And I presume at that point that is the automatic flight termination system destroying it so that there's not any large debris coming back to Earth. Or at least coming back into the ocean, because this launch did happen from Wenchang, which launches out over the sea. And I guess that's good because it means that there's not anything downrange. There's very likely to be few things downrange which have people living in them. China's first big rocket failure ended up killing a bunch of people nearby. Now, I wanted to synchronize these two angles. Turns out that's kind of hard because the footage from the TV is already slowed down, so I have to sort of speed things back up to make it smooth. Totally had to guess what the frame rate was, but you can see that there are a series of events on both sides that sort of seem to line up. So we've got the initial fireball caused by the upper stage rupturing as it falls off. Then we have, a few seconds later, the much larger explosion from the boost stage going up. The long-distance footage also shows this vapor trail showing up, which is pretty common as rockets go, transonic around the sound barrier, which is very often close to where max Q happens. So this is very consistent with what we'd expect for a structural failure due to aerodynamics. But look, we still have plenty of questions. Was the vehicle at normal attitudes when this occurred, right? Because if you modify the angle of attack, that will increase the sideways forces, the lateral forces, which can increase the bending strain and therefore in turn cause the rocket to fail. So if there was an attitude control issue, that could lead to this. If the rocket hit unexpected wind shear, that would change the airflow across the rocket, and it might be enough to push it over the edge. Now, there was no wind shear expected, but your predictions are sometimes wrong. And remember, the original 7A failure was because of engine control issues that resulted in poor attitude. Well, someone observed the engine fail a fraction of a second before the first fireball. It takes them a second to figure out what's happening, but if they pan across, they see the rest of the giant fireball from the main event. So again, watching this in slow motion, watch the center engine here. It's correctly exposed, good for the photographer. It shuts down, and then almost simultaneously we get that fireball forming in front. And that is, of course, from the third stage as it ruptures. Now, these events are so close in time. The rocket was bending at the point where that center engine was shutting down. So I'm thinking that might be a commanded engine shutdown. Like, I don't think this shutdown was caused by a loss of tank pressure in the core, since the engine was seen to shut down before the fireball was actually seen. But look, we can take these two things and we can stick them side by side again. And again, we are just guessing at the timing for the screen on the right, but it seems to sort of line up. So again, the bend happens, it breaks, and then you get the fireball. And that engine in the center is shutting down already. But then the question is, if they decided to shut down the center engine because things were going wrong, why didn't they shut down the engines on the boosters at the same time? I don't know. And look, I would love to know more about what exactly happened, what the sequence of events
7
is.
hours ago. It says this
Chinese
the launch
launcher,
was this morning.
It's carrying a military payload.
Yeah, Chinese space program.
They've not been really communicating a great deal about this mission in particular. So I fully expect that this will get investigated, cleaned up, and we will have almost no clue as to what actually happened. I am, however, happy that despite this being a spectacular conflagration seen by many, many people, that it appears that nobody has actually been injured by this. That's good. A number of people on the ground appear to be, well, not so much cheering, but clapping or whatever. They seem to be, enjoying the show, despite it being something going wrong that they have nothing to do with. I don't think this is going to slow down China's space program.
Got a lot of stuff done today. Got a lot of stuff packed up. I got a lot of, we took a lot of stuff to the donation centers. Did a lot of stuff. Yeah, got painted the bathroom. So Chinese mismanaged SpaceX produced rocket. Yeah, it's exactly what it is. That's exactly what it is. They copy and pasted, or as best they could, SpaceX's rockets, and they got enough money from us stupid Americans that they can keep throwing a bunch and blowing stuff up.
At all. They have an amazing amount of diversity in their launch vehicles, and this is just one of many. They are just going to keep on flying rockets.
Right.
I'm Scott Manley. Fly safe.
Yeah, interesting. Does China have a proper space program? As a country, they just usually launch spy satellites, spy blue weather cheap. No, they have another like GPS. They have their own like GPS constellation flying around the Earth. Also, they've got spy satellites. They probably have a Space Force program. I mean, I don't know for sure, but let's see if it's publicly available knowledge. Chinese screw up a rocket launch and it flew to the moon. No, SpaceX hit the moon. No. They supposedly, I mean, you know how China does. Like when my father worked for the Applied Physics Laboratory, they had spies that would be arrested for trying to sell data to the Chinese back then, back in the freaking 80s and 90s. What up? Who's the film? I don't think SpaceX is allowed to sell to China. Probably not rockets. They're allowed to sell some stuff, but nothing that can affect national security. Right. It was a SpaceX rocket that hit the moon. Yeah. No problem. What up, piece of fail? SpaceX cannot sell. No. That would be a national security concern. And actually, China, I believe, pays SpaceX to put other stuff in space also. They definitely have their space caravans. They'll advance quickly because they don't have the plan when their rockets fail and just fly them to the countryside. Yep. Yeah, they killed a bunch of people. That's what he was mentioning earlier. Let's see. Oh, man. What up, Black Hawk? What up, brother? see the thunder? The lightning, I mean? What up, Fat Dino? You see the lightning in that? That's super high voltage static charges from the particulate rubbing against each other as it slides out, kind of like how when you rub a balloon on your hair and stick it to the wall, but billions of balloons. SpaceX is pretty much privately owned government agency now with government contracts based on almost every company satellites out. Right. I don't know if it's still 95%, but it was like 2 years ago I was looking into it. 95% of all mass that leaves the Earth leaves in a SpaceX rocket. That for all countries around the world. So India has a space agency also, and they put smaller stuff in space, but for a large rocket, like even that Chinese rocket, there's a small rocket compared to like the big ass rockets. Make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. Bum, 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 bum. It's a crazy music choice for this violent of an act of a video. You would expect like a ring. 500 to 700 meters. Got the Minecraft playlist. Yeah, it's pretty amazing stuff. Pretty amazing stuff. That freaking nature. That Mother Nature. That Mother Nature. The metal, the most common metal on Earth was the last one we used.
Everyone
SpaceX
knows the
currently
modern
launches a
world is
rocket,
built on
approximately
steel.
every 2 to 3 days. The company aims to execute between 140 and 180 telemissions annually. Yeah, and if they can get Falcon Heavy, if they can get that, they want to get that down to launching more often. That big ass one, massive multi-state salmonella outbreak tied to contaminated jalapenos. You know what's causing a lot of this, right? People pooping in the fields, and the things not being cleaned properly. We had like this lettuce outbreak because of this whole like migration thing, like issue that the left and the right argue over. There was tens of thousands, if not millions, of people that when they were crossing over the border into America, across the Mexican-American border, they would there was no bathrooms, so they were pissing and pooping into the lettuce fields in Zuma, Arizona. And then like you have this huge parasite outbreak, intestinal parasite, and you're like, where do you think it comes from? I read Mars is just too cold for us to hang out -80 due to its thin temperature. Yeah, that's cold stuff. Cold stuff, brother. Yep, that wouldn't be fun. Human beings pooping in the crop fields. I haven't heard any definitive data for that, but pooping in lettuce fields, Arizona. Oops, there you go. Contamination of leafy greens by human or animal feces and agricultural in Arizona and California. Serious food risks often led outbreaks of E. coli and cyclospora. Field contamination happens via polluted irrigation water, runoff, livestock, adequate field sanitation, and restroom access for farm workers, right? But what about all the people that crossed the border and came through those fields, right? They pooped there too. And you have poops from all around the world. So so parasites from all around the world that are coming across in people's guts. Moved to Russia, same temperatures. The farmers themselves to the Mexico. We don't know. Visuals of bizarre climate like fecal matter, a provocative alien aesthetic, made world of red carpet by celebrities. Or Mexico did it on purpose. Possibility too. That's a possibility also.
The rails
What's up, Mud
under
Butters?
every train,
Shit, I went the way Trump treated it.
Tower,
Yeah, wow.
The hull
They
of
did
every
it.
ship, the blade of every knife in the kitchen drawer. Iron is the metal history seems to have chosen, the one treated as the floor beneath everything else. So dig into the ground under any steel mill. The most common metal down there is not iron. It is aluminum. There is more aluminum in the Earth's crust than iron.
I also remember Jeff Bezos Blue Origin Road Glad blew up one of the launch pads. It won't be launched for 2 or 3 years. Why they're yeah, I saw that.
The third most
equal opportunity field pooping
kind, after only oxygen and silicon. And for almost the entire history of metalworking,
that's
nobody could get a single usable gram of it out.
That is the strange shape of the story.
The metal that ran history was never the most common one, nor the lightest, nor in most ways even the best. It was simply the one people could reach. Iron won because of what a determined human could pull out of the ground with fire. Aluminum lost for the very same reason, right up until the rules of extraction changed under everyone's feet.
You weren't pulling out.
Slowly, unevenly,
slightly.
the
Funny
metal
thing
that
about
sat
poop
useless
doesn't
in
care.
the dirt for the whole
Doesn't care
of
what
human
color
history
your cheeks
is
are.
starting to take some of that ground back. We call an entire age after iron the Iron Age. The phrase lands like a verdict, as though
they
iron
work
showed
slower
up,
than
proved itself the
SpaceX, but
superior
also
metal,
SpaceX
and
has more than
swept
one
the
launch
older
pad. Blue
world of
Origin only
bronze
has one launch
aside
pad.
on merit alone.
Well, also SpaceX has government freaking contracts and contracts from other countries. I don't know, like I said, 95% of all mass, so 95 out of every 100 pounds of weight that leaves the Earth leaves on a SpaceX rocket, or at least it did. I don't know if that's changed. Want to know how much white blood you have in you? Check to see if your butthole ring is brown or pink. You can also bleach your butthole. Sometimes I've heard people. Sometimes people poop on each other. Some people do that. Yes. Well, apparently, Middle Eastern guys are considered Asians now. Yeah, it depends where you're reading from. What's up, Paul Bunyan? 2026 is definitely the misinformation age. Definitely, that's been going on for freaking a lot longer than that. I think people don't realize how long they've been malinformed. That I think people are starting to catch on a lot, specifically since COVID, that people will tell you, like, people are realizing that the news is what they want you to hear, not what you think, not what they think you should hear, so to speak. Poop. Did Jeffrey Bezos, ousted CEO of Blue Origin Space Company? Did Jeff Bezos get ousted as CEO? CEO of Blue Origin. David Limp, succeeding Bob Smith. Apparently, he wasn't the CEO. The guy that did Alexa and Kindle. The company was founded by. Okay, so he's the owner. I guess he's never been the CEO. Yeah, I guess he's never been the CEO.
Strong, hard, the obvious endpoint of getting steadily better at metal. The real story is messier, and I want to be careful here, because this channel put out a video a while back that leaned much too hard on the idea that bronze was simply the better metal, and iron somehow muscled its way to the top on a technicality. That framing was wrong, and the viewers who said so were right. What actually happened is stranger and far more interesting. Early iron was often
Dubai
worse
porta
than
potty,
bronze,
sugar,
a freshly smelted iron blade before anyone had learned.
Really dark, dude. There's one girl that not only do they rub poop all over her and do other sexual perversional wackadoos, they broke her back and her arms and legs and threw her in a ditch. Dubai porty potty with broken back. A Ukrainian model, Maria Kukulchuk, suffered a broken spine and legs after a high-end party in Dubai in March 2025. I hope it was worth that 50 grand. She was banished for 10 days. Found unconscious and severely injured on a roadside with a shattered spine and broken limbs. crazy. I thought I saw somewhere Jeff Bezos' answer to why they had all those failures back in June. He might be the guy that's the forward facing, like the when it's time to talk to the news. I want to see an opposite Shark Tank show. Billionaires create companies to be judged by the people. Never. They don't want their ideas to get stolen. I've always preferred fecal matter with my lettuce. That's my favorite. Ranch, fecal ranch. Left her to the side of the road. Yep. Yeah, they probably like, oh, she's dead. Just freaking roll her out into the side of the road for 10 days.
Learn to fold carbon into it and work it properly could be softer than good bronze, and it rusted where bronze quietly did not. So why would the world give up a metal it had mastered for one that started out inferior?
Did you say UAE courts
that
only
is
give
very
it?
nearly the whole answer,
No. I don't know if she got any money, but that's what they offer those girls, those OnlyFans models and Instagram models, baddies. They offer them $50,000. They fly them, and listen, it gets dirty. So they fly them out there. They turn them inside out. They turn them inside out, and then they give them $50,000 in cash. And then they tell the people at the airport that the person's trying to leave the country with cash, and the cash often gets taken back at the airport. So they just, all that happened, and all they got was a free flight to and a free flight from, and turned inside out, and lately was $0. So the authorities that are part of the principality, the princes and whatever, they work together. So when the woman's leaving the airport, flying back to freaking whatever country she's from, they what's the term? Not capture. They confiscate the money, and then it ends up getting given back to the princess. Then they just use that same 50 grand again, get another model for the next weekend. Another model for the next weekend, and the women are too embarrassed to say, but some eventually said, no, they freaking ripped me off. They confiscated the money at the airport. All the device failure will fly out women and pay 10 to 100K for them to poop on their chest, PO to have also buy them guess. Yeah. Ukrainian ladies get stabbed on buses. Yeah. You can please shout out my friend Kimberly. She's here with me now. What's up, Kimberly? What's up? Word up, Kimberly. I don't know about the cash being seized as part. A lot of girls come back with the money. Also, device goes. Yeah, I'm not saying it happens every time. I'm saying, but it happens. So it happens. So I mean, because it's not just 2 people there that are doing it. There's hundreds of people there that are doing it. But there are women, and when one of the women came out, there was like 100 that came out and said, "Yeah, they did the same thing to me. They took the money at the airport." And like yeah, it's freaking crazy. What do you think? What do you think I mean by that? They had their way sexually in every way, shape, or form.
For a moment, bronze is copper alloyed with tin, and tin is genuinely rare. In the late Bronze Age, it traveled along long and fragile trade routes, carried across enormous distances from a small number of far-flung
I think he just wanted me to say
workshops that had no local supply of their own. Cut those routes, and the whole system starves. Around 1200 BCE, in the wave of collapse that toppled a string of Mediterranean and Near Eastern powers within a couple of generations. That is roughly what happened. The tin became unreliable. Bronze turned back into a luxury. Iron ore, by contrast, is almost everywhere. Yeah. And poor iron you can dig from the hillside behind your village will always, in the end, beat excellent bronze you simply cannot get. The archaeologist Anthony Snodgrass laid this out decades ago in his study of the early Greek world. Iron spread not because it was better, but because it was there when the alternative vanished. I find that reading far more convincing than the older story of iron winning on sheer quality, for one plain reason.
Things you can hear her. She's talking here, yeah. I figured I was an innuendo.
Any sudden leap in how good
What's up,
iron
Robert?
was.
My
The quality
tender
came later.
lullaby.
Once Smiths learned to carburize the metal, working carbon into its surface to make what was effectively early steel, the cheap local material became a genuinely
that's pretty freaking interesting to see. They take iron and then they just put charcoal on top of it and start hammering the charcoal into the iron. It just seems like an odd thing to do. Your innuendo. Hey, 5-month celebration, Robert. Robert's been a member for 5 months of celebrations. Thank you, brother. Forever love. Thank you, my brother. Da, 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 da. Man, 5 months. It's been a long time.
Excellent one. Better followed, cheaper. Not the other way around. There's one detail here
I
most
appreciate
people
it,
miss.
Robert. Thank you,
Long
brother.
before anyone deliberately smelted iron from ore, people already had iron. It fell out of the sky.
Meteoritic.
The oldest worked iron objects on record were made from meteorites, cold metal hammered into beads and small blades, while the smelting of ordinary ore still lay centuries in the future. Beads found in an Egyptian grave and dated to around 3200 BCE turned out, under analysis, to be meteoritic. And a 2016 study of the famous daggers buried with Tutankhamun, using X-ray examination of the blade's makeup, found a nickel content that matched iron from a meteorite rather than anything drawn from a furnace. A pharaoh went to his tomb with a knife forged from metal that had fallen from space,
From the
because
gods.
at that moment iron from the heavens was more workable than iron from the earth. Picture the furnace that finally changed that. Not a factory, nothing like it. A clay shaft about chest height packed with layers of charcoal and crushed ore, with skin bellows worked by hand and lung to force air up through the burning fuel. It never grew hot enough to melt iron fully. What it produced instead was a glowing, spongy, filthy lump called a bloom, iron tangled up with slag and half-burned rock, which the smith then had to hammer while it was still near white hot to beat the waste out of it.
Listen, man, these guys worked hard for their toys and weapons. Can you imagine, like, if you want a freaking silverware set, ironware set for your dining room table, or if you need swords for your army, like how many people are just taking dirty, hot as hell iron and dirt and chunky lumps and just beating the hell out of it with a hammer? That's how they purified it.
Hours of that. The whole rhythm of early iron was the rhythm of a hammer coming down on a stubborn gray mass. Again and again, the sparks flying, the metal slowly consenting to become a tool. Hold on to that furnace, because it is the hinge the entire story turns on. It ran on fire, charcoal forced air, and a heat that a stubborn person could reach with local materials and an enormous amount of sweat. Iron ore gives up its metal to heat. That single physical fact is the reason iron could belong to the ancient world at all.
Imagine living back
And
then. We
ironworking
fantasize
did
about
not
it today,
begin
man.
in
It would have
one
been about
clever
every day.
place
No, absolutely.
and then spread outward like gossip.
Right, right. So think about how many more calories these people burn every day. Think about that. Like, can you imagine, like, that's absolutely, imagine how resentful they must have been of the fat king that's just sitting on his ass, making babies, making laws, and you're out there 12 hours a day over a freaking 3,000 degree. I don't know if they got to 3,000 degrees, probably close to 3,000 degrees. Yes, they were saying same things about the old story of hundreds of years ago. Yeah. How daily life would have been. Yeah. It's also crazy. Spencer's Gifts and Spirits Halloween, so $20,000 to $40,000 rent out dead store space, each $70,000 per store. They have 1,575 stores. Yeah, that's right. That's right. That's right. All you need is an idea. And listen, there's money. There's more money in the economy than there's ever been, and it's out there for the taking. You just need an idea, and you need to go to irs.gov or sba.gov, and fill out, download, and at least take a look at a business plan, an actual business plan. If you can fill out an idea, look at the business plan, and if you can come up with an idea, people will give you money if the numbers make sense and it shows that you could turn a profit. People will give you money to do it, because it's you know, and if it's enough money, then they'll even give you somebody that's got some business training or experience to work alongside with you to make it happen. It's out there. Don't think, oh, they're going to take my, no, just go get the money to do it again and again and again and again and again. Sheer number of calories. I'm wondering how constantly battling being a fat ass. Yeah, well, imagine if you had to beat the hell out of iron for every metal tool you have, every shovel you have, every rake you have, every spoon, fork, and knife you have. You wouldn't be a fat ass. 721,000 gross profit in the store in just 2 months. Yep. Halloween's nuts, dude. Halloween stores are nuts. Yep, they pop up for a few months, make all their money, go away. Right, and it's worth making absolutely nothing for the rest of the year. And every once in a while, you'll have like pop-up shops and stuff in some of those stores. Like sometimes you'll have like what do they call those freaking things? Can't remember. Popped in my head, I'll tell you. What a Halloween competitor store cut them out of business. Save yourself a 10% cheaper. They probably the thing is they have a lot. Here's the thing. They don't order all that stuff from China when they need it. They've ordered it, like they order a bunch of it. They have storage for all that stuff. So they're paying monthly for storage to be able to have that pop up quickly. You would have to put a ton of money into it just to get the first store opened. And you probably wouldn't make your money back on the first store the first day. So if you had multiple stores, so that would cost more money also. Right. And then what to do when the stores are closed, like those businesses are closed when it would be tough to break into, or more people would have done it. I mean, hey, if it's an idea, make it happen. Make it happen. But you'd probably be better off like trying to buy one of the franchises. I don't celebrate Halloween. It's that satanic. Yeah, great. It's the same as Easter eggs and Christmas stuff. Yeah, they pop up, open up, sell a bunch of stuff, then shut the doors down, and whatever they didn't sell goes back into storage for the next year. Because it's typically, I mean, that you have to refresh some stuff, like whatever the famous movie was of that year, but the same old stuff, skeletons, ghosts, Iron Man, freaking Spider-Man, those will always sell. You can keep them in storage.
It arose independently in several parts of the world, including in sub-Saharan Africa, where communities were operating their own furnaces and turning out high-quality iron on a timeline of their own. The dating of the very earliest African ironworking is honestly still argued over by specialists, and I would treat anyone who calls it fully settled with some suspicion. But the broad pattern is exactly the point. When a metal can be freed with fire and its ore lies under almost everybody,
few years ago, Spencer's put up Spirit Halloween for sale, only 600,000, and no buyers. Give it 600,000. You're going to make more than that.
It was a floor. The whole species was always going to reach sooner.
So there was probably a contract. I can't imagine them just selling one store for 600K. I mean, maybe. I can't. That seems very, very odd. Especially knowing that they'd make the profit unless they want to retire. Christmas cards. Yeah, Christmas cards don't sell well in July. They're running a store without we well for help rate. I mean, you'd only run it once a year, for a few months. Then you have the rest of the year off.
Wherever there was ore and someone willing to sweat. So now turn the furnace around and ask the opposite question. What becomes of a metal whose ore will not surrender it to fire? However high you build the flames, however long you keep the bellows going, however hard you swing the hammer afterwards. Bauxite. That metal is aluminum.
I know,
and that stubborn refusal is the reason the most common metal on the planet
but he's never
has
not
almost
the franchise.
no
He's never not the franchise consumer.
Aluminum never.
Right. But that's so you're gonna get old. If you don't die, you're gonna get old. So what are you missing now? Like if you were working right now, is it that big of a deal? Some people consider it like a sacrifice. Like, I could be banging chicks. Great. But you can bang chicks later. And it's like we think of our time as like we don't want to sacrifice, but it makes it so much more worth it when you can relax and chill. Like that's a big issue that we have. I don't. If you don't mind the working, if like you're like, hey, I'm making money, and if you, I think this thing is having a goal. If you want to have $1 million in your bank account by 2030, what are you going to do it, right? And you're going to have to work a lot, right? Because you're going to have to get a chunk of money and then either get it into investments or something like that. But you got to come up with the money first. So you start by trading your time for money. And then so you work for money, and then you have to get enough money so the money can work for you. Spirit Halloween is just the entity. The company don't own stores. They rent out the dead store space in your town. Oh, they're just the freaking they're just the management company. Around Hollywood Videos, Blockbusters. Yep. Chick-fil-A franchise owners just get glorified managers, even though they make good money. They have to spend 50% of their time in store at the end. Yeah, but I mean, if it's worth it to you, yeah, you know, if it's worth it to you, especially if you're making hundreds of thousands of dollars a year, hopefully my meme coin pump will double it.
Never turns up in nature as metal. It is far too reactive for that. It seizes hold of oxygen and
turns
clings
into
to it so
aluminum
fiercely
oxide.
that in the ground it exists only as aluminum oxide and its relatives, chemically wedded to oxygen in a grip that plain heat cannot pry loose. The bloomery furnace, the very tool that handed the ancient world its iron, does nothing to it whatsoever. You could bury an aluminum ore in charcoal and roast it for a week and pull out precisely what you put in. This is the part worth being clear about. The ancients were not too backward or too foolish to make aluminum.
Good
the
luck
tools
with the
capable
crypto
of freeing
scheme.
it did
I
not
knew
exist
some guy.
in any
I
culture
guy
anywhere
sued
on
someone.
Earth. And
I knew a guy who sued someone. The guy had $50,000 in Halloween merchandise. He got rid of most of it.
Hold on, I know a guy who sued someone, and all the guy had to do was all they had to give was $50,000 Hollywood merchandise, and it was funny. He got rid of most of it on a charity tax write-off. Yeah, I was gonna say that you can call it the Trump coin or the Melania coin. My dad looked into buying Chick-fil-A. You have to be part of their church to own one. You have to, Mormon cult member to buy your own Bricks Minifigs franchise. Yeah, isn't that crazy? Don't envy his daily life, but each his own. To Rich's point, it'll be totally worth it for him in the long run. Right. So you can work 8 hours a day till you're 65, or you can work 14 hours a day till you're 45. Right. Yeah, I mean that's a big difference. And listen, a lot of people are making a good amount of money, especially like in like industries like with unions where you get a lot of overtime. I think this no tax on tips and no tax on overtime thing, because Kamala was trying to do it also. So I think that's going to stay in politics. I think that you can't say you're for the working class and change that rule, take away that no tax on tips and no tax on overtime. You'll piss off millions of people. So I think that's going to expand. And that, I mean, the Democrats are going to have to come back at it with a better offer, to either expand it, or the Republicans are going to have to keep it, or expand it. So that if you can get a job that pays overtime and you're not going to get taxed on the overtime, at least federally, that's pretty good. I know that dude, very religiously, unsurprisingly, corporate level super micromanagement. They're hardcore on franchise. Apparently, they don't send out secrets. Yeah, they all do that. They all send out secrets. Yeah, you want to make sure you keep your brand proper, because that's what you have. And people are making billions of dollars. Over the network. Test franchise to make sure that the Chick-fil-A name. Yeah, I can understand that. Last month is bad to the local McDonald's, so I looked up my owners. I could name them in my Yelp interview. The dude got a second-gen owner, owns 17. Chick-fil-A, yeah. And they do pretty good. Like what they did during COVID by putting people outside with iPads to like go down the line and start getting people's orders. And that was brilliant because people were in long lines. And if you take their order and money first, they're more willing to stand in line because they've already spent their money. So it was a good idea, and they still do it. Yeah, they're definitely the friendliest. Yeah, that's crazy. Working through like 17 McDonald's. Yeah, listen, why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you? Right? If you can get one, you can get two. Why not get 3, 4, 5? You work at one, you get it set up running how you want to, and you're making money, and then open up another one, you go there, and that's where you spend your 8 hours a day, 40 hours a week until it's running the way you want to, and then you just copy and paste. If you can open a McDonald's and make money, it doesn't cost you anything. Investors will give you the money. You say, look, I open this one, it turns a profit. You want part of that profit? Give me this much money and I'll open another one. No, that's a good way to do it. Dude's dad started owning his son. Now he's 17. McDonald's is loaded. Yep, it's franchise. Guy owns every Sonic in Mississippi and Louisiana. His name is Mr. McLean. That's how it works. That's how it works. Yeah, that's how it works. It's definitely, listen, there's ways to make money in this United States. There's a lot of money to be spent. There's a lot of money to be had. I understand inflation is a rough word, but it hurts people and it helps people. So if there's more money in the economy, I understand spending power. I'm just saying there's more money to be had. That money's not all tied up. There's money to be had and there's money to be spent. This guy that owns Chick-fil-A, 28, believe me, his dad only bought it for him as a way for him to learn the business and a restaurant room. That's a good idea. It's a good idea. I mean, instead of going to college and spending $200,000 in college, you spend $400,000 on something that you're actually going to get the money back. It's probably not even 400. It might be 400,000. Chick-fil-A, you can only own one location at a time unless you open up the second near to when you have chosen the second one.
Would not for thousands of years. The first crack in the problem came from a completely new kind of force, electricity. In the early 1800s, the English chemist Humphrey Davy, passing electric current through molten substances, reasoned out that the earthy powder called alumina had a metal concealed inside it. He gave that metal a name before any human being had ever laid eyes on a piece of it. What he could not do was isolate it. The electrical sources of his day were simply too feeble for the job. He was not even settled on what to call it, trying out more than one name before the thing itself existed in any usable form. That uncertainty left a small scar that never healed. The metal ended up with two spellings:
aluminum,
across most of North America, and aluminium almost everywhere else.
Yeah,
And the
Chick-fil-A's
argument
chicken
over
store
which
trash
is
has
correct
circumstances
has
people in
quietly
restaurants. My
outlived
parents owned
everyone who
restaurants
started
in the
it.
90s. Parents
It took
broke away
until
from franchise
1825 for the Danish
embezzling money to
physicist
build
Hans
Manchester.
Christian Ørsted to coax out a
Chick-fil-A
tiny
limits initial
and
operation
pure
of a single
speck.
restaurant.
And another 2 years for the German chemist
Hey,
Friedrich.
listen, you're gonna make kick-ass money. So, like, it just proves you're gonna do it well and do it well. Right. So, I mean, I agree with that. That's personal marketing plan and probability is important for their 6 levels of success. Yeah, and it's worked. And they're still growing and expanding. Yeah. I worked with the creator of Chick-fil-A's son when he bought Trillith. He bought Pinewood Studios, movie studios, and turned it into Trillith Studios here in Atlanta. And I worked with him side by side, multi-freaking billionaire, asking me how to work a voice over IP phone.
To sharpen the method into something that yielded a dull gray powder, a marvel on a laboratory bench. Still useless as a material you could actually build with. Then, in 1854, the French chemist Henri Saint-Clair Deville assembled the first process capable of producing aluminum in solid bars.
Yeah.
Using soda.
Listen, yes, absolutely. Managers are very well paid for a reason. You set the mood and tone at the business, and one of the most expensive things is retraining or training new people. If you're a good manager and you can keep people there, it's one of the most valuable things. And then the part of the money, say it costs $10,000 to train a new employee. If you can keep an employee for a year, then it's worth it for the owner to give you $5,000 as a manager, as a bonus, to say we didn't have to spend the $10,000 training budget. And they do that. They do that because it costs a lot of money to train new people and to run it how you want to run it. And a good manager will do that and quell issues, show up when someone calls out. It's very valuable to an owner. I worked for Discount Tire for a moment out of high school before I started university, and that's what they told me. Yeah, you make a lot of money. Millions has to be a store manager. Right, yeah, probably a store manager. Oh, what did I miss? Texas with a store manager average of $1 million annually. Yeah, that's probably the general. That's probably the general manager. No, general manager can make a shitload of money too, especially if they're managing multiple stores. I'm talking about the head store manager. I think they're called general manager. Yeah. Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah, and like the store manager, the main store manager at the McDonald's I worked at when I was 14, um, she was making $250,000 a year. And that's when I was 14, so that was 1991. She was making $250,000 a year in 91.
To wrench the metal loose from its oxygen. It worked. It was also staggeringly expensive, so expensive that aluminum arrived in the world not
gold.
as a cheap workaday metal,
more expensive
but as a
gold.
precious one, rarer and costlier than gold.
GM is the store manager. Maybe the general manager something I always thought was called store manager, general manager.
Aluminum, the metal of the crumpled
every
drink
few months.
can,
Yeah, she
and
only
the torn sheet of kitchen
she
foil.
came in probably once a week, stopped in for a few minutes. But she would come in for like every quarter for like a day. To go over the numbers and taxing and whatnot. You know, Ian Bick, who's a Locked podcast, said long before doing social media, came over from a prison, started working at Whole Foods as a good prep manager, is making $100,000 a year. Yeah, dude, listen, you can. There's a lot of money to be made. A lot of people don't want these jobs because they think in order, especially people you see on social media, they want to say they make at least $100,000 a year. They don't want to work at McDonald's. They don't want to work at freaking Whole Foods. They don't want to do these things. They want more prestige. So they're willing to not do anything to try to make it on social media rather than, but no, you can make good money. Listen, even if you're making $50,000 a year working at, I mean, you're going to make more than that as a McDonald's manager. And it's not like it's like if you're not in the ghetto or whatever, it ain't that bad. I mean, it pretty much it runs itself for the most part. You just got to make sure, and ordering and stuff. The stuff that used to be really difficult is all digital now. It's all like it knows how many the fryer knows how many orders of fries or how many baskets of fries you fried and what needs to be reordered. So it does that for you and everything. So it's not even. It's just the people thing. Training people is one of the most expensive. Never heard of him. The Locked In podcast. Gonna tattoo it on my face to make it big on the internet. Yep, people are crazy. Yep.
Was once treated as a jewel. Napoleon III of France, who bankrolled DeVille's work, is supposed to have kept a set of aluminum cutlery for his most honored guests, leaving everyone further down the table to struggle along with mere gold. I should say plainly that the neat banquet version of that anecdote is hard to trace to a solid source from the time, and it has clearly been buffed up in a century of retelling. The underlying fact, though, is not in any doubt. When the Washington Monument was finished in 1884, the builders topped it with a small
I saw
pyramid
stuff
of
about
aluminum,
today on your opinion.
a cap of about 6 pounds. And before it was...
It's insanity. It's insanity. And I was mentioning stuff about this yesterday, not about the Smithsonian, so to speak, but white supremacy. How like we're talking like the way it basically, the way they turned it into anything that white people do or in the success of America is considered white supremacist. So I was watching a black coach, teacher, Coach N, and he was saying that it's gone to such an extreme that anything that like white companies or white politicians or governments do is considered white supremacist. Even things like being on time, he was saying. So he's saying just because the KKK drank water doesn't mean drinking water is bad. Just because KKK wanted people to be on time doesn't mean being on time is white supremacy. Some of the things people did, even though they were white supremacists, did things in order to grow a company. It was good for the organization, even though they were white supremacists. So you could, just because they drank water doesn't mean you don't have to drink water. But there's things that people did, even if they were white supremacists, that were good for organizations and building groups. So you could also use the positive points of that. But the thing like the Smithsonian is they're saying things like being like kind almost is white supremacy, and like they're just going way too far. It's almost like it's a meme. It's like they just want to see if they can get it posted. It's interesting. I have clips of it. Look them up. Museum's supposed to tell accurate story. The Smithsonian got bastardized by woke leftists. Yeah, I agree. Air conditioning. Yeah, right. And the internet. Right. It doesn't work that way. And so he was saying before COVID, the school that he worked at on the west side of Chicago was one of the top schools. Like they had grades and testing numbers up with like the best schools in the nation. And then when they had to go for this whole like everything's based in systemic racism stuff, and you can't expel kids that are smoking weed. He says now they don't even go into the bathroom because if they find kids smoking weed, they can't expel them because expelling them would be because those rules of kicking kids out of school for smoking weed was built under a white supremacist system. And this is what he was saying. So if they're doing that, they're saying, okay, I understand that. I understand it was built under a white supremacist system, but then that white supremacist system was taken over by people that weren't white supremacists, and they changed it, and they changed the laws, and they made white supremacy in those forms illegal. So just because the history had it doesn't mean it wasn't changed away from that. Just like here, just because you find a bunch of iron in the ground that's dirty doesn't mean that over time and with work and effort you can't turn it into something that's good, even though the guy that dug it out of the ground is a white supremacist. So it's just making for a bad society, telling people that things like being on time is white supremacy. It's almost like there's outside forces that want to make Americans fail, so they tell them that anything that would be helpful to progress in government or in industry is white supremacist. So they're telling people to do the opposite, to fight. It's not going to be helpful as a whole. It's all good. They got into a Chevy Chase. His podcast was Chase about if his opinion should say Chevy laughed about. Didn't Hitler own dogs? Yeah. Smithsonian has always been full of shit covering up real history, reflects their agenda. Now he's good friends with Chevy Chase, real good friends, invited to dinners. Not even white supremacy, like some of the other stuff, like Benjamin Franklin, that slave. Benjamin Franklin's a lot more than just slaves. Yeah. Right. Yeah. No, I agree. It's stupid. The thing that's stupid about it is because he was also right. What else so Benjamin Franklin came over from another country with people that with an unknown, they came to a new land with an unknown future, and they converted that into everything that we have now. Did he use slaves? Yes. Okay, great. He used slaves, asshole. But what can we learn from him in how he created the country? But some people want to say, well, he couldn't have did it without the slaves. Okay, great, understood. But what things did he do that helped this thing be created? And he also helped free the slaves, or move things towards the freeing of the slaves. Yeah, it's not kick ass like that to say just because that happened, because also more people grew, more immigrants came in, and more migrants came into America, and we fought a civil war to end slavery. So everything that was done from then, the bad parts, just like the bad parts of the metal ore, are beaten out with fire and strength in order to make it something better. And that's the way I see it. Right? Like I see it that we took something that was dirty and bad, and but there was something underneath that we ended up all working into a much better thing. And even in the 90s, it wasn't like the racial tensions weren't like this. And I think it's just not like if we were trying to teach these kids to leave the country, if we were trying to train these children to go work in China or Japan or Scotland or anywhere else, they're not gonna allow for your history because things were bad in America in the 1700s. They want you to do the job. They want you to incorporate it into society, and we're not. We're training kids to say, "Oh, America's white supremacist, so you're always going to get held down, and you're never going to be able to make anything. So don't even try." And then they're doing what they're told. They're doing what they're told. Probably is the problem for hardcore, right? So one thing is to live in Congress facility that Latino power t-shirts to get a job. Everything is racist stuff. All these schools probably black perspective as facts. You can't convince kids. Whole society's desire for people like the kid. But yeah, it's bad. It's absolutely horrible. Because like I said, they'll just do what they're told. If they're told that they can't, that it's worthless to try because of the white supremacy, then they won't try. And then they won't get any results. And then it'll prove the people that told them that right. See, you didn't turn out to be anything. It was because of the white supremacy. He's like, no, because you taught them that white supremacy was the problem. Ian Bick has a lot of ex-prisoner podcast, famous story. People got so they're a good mix of good and bad. And cowardice won't fight back against lunacy. That's true too. If people want to write off everything as slavery contributed to it, literally have nothing left. Well, the thing is also they only teach back far enough for their narrative. If they would teach back 3,000 years, they would know that everybody was slavers and everybody was slaveholders of every color. And like they don't teach that there's still current slavery, and the tribes that were slavers in Africa are still slavers in Africa. So it's not even gone yet. Slavery is larger now, and it's taken under different names. But they don't teach any of that. They don't teach any of that because it would break the narrative. Like men in the WNBA, they get smashed. Yeah. I never do that. I never do what I'm told. Never. Like tell your slave ancestors all Paul World War. Yeah. Right. How many people died in order to reverse that? Segregation was bad, slavery was bad, etc. Slavery, Smithsonian put things people suffering today because 100 years of slavery are called BS on people. They listed them next to the silverware. Yeah, Germanic slaves to Rome, right? Yeah, so it depends how far back you learn. And then when you ask, they're like, "Well, we only got freaking 4 years in high school, so we could only teach." Right. That's why you do it. That's why you're doing it. Yeah.
Set in place at the summit, it was put on display in a Tiffany's window in New York, because a lump of aluminum that size was one of the more valuable objects an ordinary person could go and gawk at. And the end of aluminum's reign as a precious thing did not come out of some grand national laboratory. It came out of a woodshed in Ohio. In 1886, a young man named Charles Martin Hall.
Right, yeah, and most people haven't even heard about Anthony Johnson. They got no idea that it was because of that lawsuit or that case that made it okay for slaves to be held if lifelong, and that's crazy shit too. Maybe if the racists didn't prevent Super War be a super huge success to essence. Yeah, that stuff's wackadoo too. Like blaming those things, like blaming the failure of IP on. No, it's because you people are jerks. Those freaking the people when they were online were telling people that like the reason is because your internal struggles. No, man, people. That's the daily chatter. Is about the evils of the world. When you go to a movie, you want to escape that, not be freaking. Watch a few more of my podcasts with real estate fraud.
22 years old and working at home with apparatus that he and his sister Julia had cobbled together themselves, dissolved alumina in a bath of molten cryolite, and drove an electric current through the mixture. The cryolite was the quiet trick at the heart of it. On its own, alumina melts only at a punishing temperature, far beyond anything practical, but dissolved into molten cryolite. It will come apart at a fraction of that heat, which is what let a current do the real work. The current then accomplished what fire never could. It snapped the bond to oxygen and left pure aluminum gathering quietly at the bottom of the vessel. Here's the coincidence that genuinely stopped me the first time I came across it. That very same year, over in France, a man named Paul Aroult, also 22, arrived at almost exactly the same process by an entirely separate road. To people born in
I think what happens a lot, like a little bit of the stuff that we just talked about, like talking about slavery going back an extra 100 years, changes the entire conversation. And a lot of these people that are super sensitive don't know about it, so they don't think it's true, so they feel like you're either lying to them, and then they're just like, well, that's obviously not true because they didn't tell me that in school and I paid freaking $200,000 for this education, or or like when you ask them to delve deeper into that, they get upset because they don't have an answer. They think if they feel emotionally about something, it must be correct.
Same year, an ocean between them, no contact of any kind, landing on the identical answer within months of each other. As it happens, they would both also die in the same year, 1914, as though the symmetry refused to let go. We still call it the Hall-Heroult process.
Aren't what stories are actually about.
Bolted
all about
together
because
there was never an honest way to pick one over the other.
Massive guys plant.
2 years
Mickey
on,
Mays, yeah, absolutely. Yes, dude. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that was all set up in order to get online gambling to take hold. Yeah. Tom Sawyer was gay. The end.
Joseph Bayer worked out a cheap method for turning raw bauxite into the alumina their process needed to be fed. And with that, the final barrier came down. The price of aluminum did not drift downward. It fell off a cliff. A metal that had crowned a national monument as a jewel became, inside a single generation, cheap enough to wrap a sandwich in and throw away. Nothing about the metal itself had changed. What changed was the energy that could be aimed at it. Yeah. Electricity generated in bulk, much of it from the new hydroelectric dams that early aluminum smelters gathered around the way herds gather at a river, could finally do the one thing that heat, for all of human history, had never managed. Now, set the two metals down, side by side, and the real pattern rises to the surface. Iron did not defeat aluminum because iron was the finer metal. Aluminum did not lose to iron because it fell short.
Right, yeah. And now he's got all that money. He's getting his tattoos lasered off and switching everything back around.
In almost every quality a modern engineer actually cares about, aluminum is the more remarkable material of the two. It is far lighter for its strength. It does not corrode the way iron does, because that same hungry bond with oxygen forms a thin, tight skin across the surface, and then guards the metal underneath instead of devouring it. And it is more abundant by a wide margin besides. Iron won history for one reason and one reason only.
One history.
You could free it with fire,
that was prisoner
and every people on Earth had fire. Aluminum lost history for the exact mirror image of that reason. Freeing it demanded electricity, and nobody anywhere had electricity until, in the long reckoning of our species, more or less yesterday afternoon. The contest between these two metals was never really a contest between the metals at all. It was a contest between two kinds of energy, and for roughly 10,000 years, only one of those two was on the table. The winner was decided by what people could do, never by what the metal was. Which carries us to now, and to the second half of the title, the half I have been careful with all the way through. Aluminum may win the future. May. Not has already. Not certainly will. Be honest about the scoreboard as it truly stands. The world still runs on steel by a colossal margin. In 2025, the world turned out something like...
When they invented AC utility power plants at 3 or 4 8 high, people know it was always get electrocuted. And when they made DC lines too, it was also the same issue. They banned casinos. Apparently I saw a YouTube video where they tried to contact a bunch of casinos and they said he's not banned. That could be, or they could have, if the casinos wanted him to be kicked out in front of it, just to put it on the YouTubes, on the TikToks, then they would just say, no, you're too good. You take too much of my money. Go on one of those gambling apps. Have you seen Larry Lawton's ex-Jewel guy? I haven't seen that. Aluminum still corrodes white powdery substance. Yeah, aluminum oxide. Yeah. Dude has the stupidest shit of a race car hoods. It's starting to search so Smith to ever dry him. Alumina is prone to dislimber medical action. Right. Especially when running electricity through it. So if you put an aluminum wire into a copper lug, you have dissimilar metals. You need no locks.
1.85 billion tons of the stuff, against roughly 63 million tons of aluminum. Iron and its alloys outweigh aluminum production by close to 30 to 1, and for the plain, cheap, brute strength that buildings and bridges and reinforcing bar demand, nothing on the horizon
at the
is
space
about
race
to
in
shove
the 50s and
steel
60s where
off
some
its throne.
scientists, people, animals
Anyone who
should be
tells
sitting
you
there focusing
aluminum
every day.
has replaced iron
Dead,
has not
everything
looked
up
at
to
the
the
numbers. But
Not a
watch
fan
where
of
the
aluminum,
growth
I
is
like things.
going
I'm a fan of
rather than where the mass...
Well, so one of the interesting things about steel is its expansion coefficient, thermal expansion. It expands and contracts at the same rate as concrete. This is why you can put steel inside of concrete If you put aluminum rebar in concrete, it expands at a different rate. So if the aluminum expanded faster than the concrete would burst away, and then the concrete would crumble around it. The steel reinforces the concrete because of that physical fact, because steel expands and contracts at the same rate that concrete around it expands and contracts, allowing it to stainless steel will be more expensive, but for pretty stuff, yeah, stainless steel is where it's at too. I mean, it is easier to machine aluminum. So I have some race car chips. Gamma like $10,000. Truck hood. Lawton is so it's OG prison Utah. No, Larry Lawton. Oh yeah, I think I do. Yeah, I think I do. Larry Lawton says, "Do you mean dead like Jerry Garcia?" Trucking. I got my chips cashed in. Keep trucking like the dude I'm in.
Already sits. Whenever weight becomes the thing that matters most, aluminum tends to win. The Wright brothers got their first machine off the ground in 1903, partly because its engine block was cast from aluminum, light enough to matter when every ounce was fighting against liftoff. It moved deeper into aircraft the moment metallurgists learned to alloy it for real strength. In the age-hardening alloys, the German engineer Alfred Wilm developed in the years just after 1900.
I labeled this channel
and human flight has leaned on aluminum ever since. The great rigid airships of the early 20th century were built on skeletons of that same light alloy. And when metal airplanes replaced wood and canvas, aluminum was the reason they could be strong without being too heavy to fly. The same logic is now quietly reshaping the road. A typical electric car carries something like 250 kilograms of aluminum, well above what an older petrol car ever did. Because every kilogram of body you shave off is range-handed straight back to the battery. Aluminum long ago took over the long-distance power lines overhead too, edging out heavier copper because it carries nearly as much current at a fraction of the weight. Beverage cans alone now swallow a large share of the world's aluminum every year, an entire throwaway industry resting on a metal that once graced an emperor's table. There is one last reason the future may tilt aluminum's way, and it loops straight back to that oxygen bond which kept the metal locked in the ground for so long. Making brand new aluminum out of ore is savagely energy hungry, and if the electricity behind it comes from burning fossil fuels, then its climate cost is genuinely high. That is the old curse, wearing modern clothes. But melting down aluminum that already exists and using it over again takes only about 5% of that energy. The metal that was the very hardest to create in the first place turns out to be one of the easiest to keep alive forever. In a century that has no choice but to care about energy.
Once you get it from bauxite, aluminum oxide, to actually aluminum metal, because it's you can remelt it and reform it so quickly and over again. It's definitely great for recycling.
The same stubbornness that once made aluminum a latecomer may quietly turn it into a survivor. So here's what to notice tomorrow, the next time one of these ends up in your hand. A drink can, a crumpled square of foil, the cool gray shell of a laptop. You are holding the most common metal on Earth in a form that for all but the last thin sliver of human history, no king, no empire, no gifted smith could have made for you at any price at all. Iron was the metal we could reach. Aluminum was the metal we had to earn, and we only earned it on the day we learned how to pull lightning out of a river and point it at a stone.
Underneath that top
report, like reports from study came out, our solar archetypes showing the piece of transforming America, black lady depicted as a Statue of Liberty didn't come back. Yeah. I mean, listen, when a lot of times when people do things along those lines, they want to stir up online debate in order to try to prove the anti or the racist tendencies of people. So they don't. This is why they don't make more of a modern depiction of a lot of things. They make just like a meme a lot of times. Once nuclear power is more prevalent through them, will cost us so comparison to cost would be less comparison. Yeah, no, absolutely. And it looks like I saw a headline today that said China is now mass producing nuclear factories, nuclear energy facilities. So it looks like they're going right into it pretty hard. Went prison 7 years. Went prison 7 years for police chase being caught with 7 ounces of coke and a gun. Jeez. That statue of the black woman. They said, yeah, and it pissed off a lot of people. I mean, I didn't care, but you can see it. And so if you're teaching kids in school that every white person has a deep seated hatred for black people, they're secretly racist. And then you show them the comment section under things like that, it just seems to prove it, but it's obviously not true. Yeah, nuclear is great. Nuclear is great, especially the new stuff, the new processes that they have. Whatever happened to all the ABS African women statues and put all over it? Yeah, I mean, a lot of times those art installations are just a way. So if you know an artist that can make a statue, right? And then you get into government, you could say, hey, let's give $500,000 to this person to make a 10-foot tall statue. Say it costs $150,000. So that's how much it costs. And often you get discounts and whatnot. So say it costs $100,000. Then you get the artist gets that extra $200,000, and then they'll give you some of that on the back end. They still put an hour. I don't think so. Another thing, Smithsonian like these. Let me say I'm decided against the girl painting a trans vaccination. I did low probably. All right, let's call it a night. I'm tired. I think I'm gonna go to bed. It's getting tiresome. All right, everybody. I appreciate y'all hanging out. Hit the like button if you haven't. I'm going to go to bed. I love y'all. I'll see you guys tomorrow. And bye bye.